Hello.
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 Yo!
We are a podcast.
I was trying to bring Aaron's energy.
Disagree.
It was worth a shot at least, Chad.
Yeah. What are you doing, guys?
Sounds like Owen more so.
Mm.
The energy was Aaron. The voice was Owen.
Maybe. It's like a mix between the two.
Wait, what am I doing?
It's like Aaron plus
Podcast,
Owen. It's
hopefully.
like Aaron.
I just opened two cameras. I don't know which one's actually showing currently.
Oh, God.
The one we can see.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what
can
that one
imagine.
is, though. Is it blown out? Or no, okay, it's good. All right, we're perfect.
It's the
All
normal
I'm trying
one.
to do is check if our Twitch is working, and they freaking make me more. And we don't even get any money for that because we're not like eligible for ad revenue yet.
Are you telling me
not?
What's working?
we're doing
Ah,
We
this
have
for
eligible.
so
free?
many viewers.
Not eligible for ad revenue. Why do we even do this?
Yeah, turn this off.
Listen, man, we
Man.
just started the stream and we've already got 4 viewers. Sorry, 3 viewers. Excuse me.
It's 5 now.
Yeah. Says
Journo,
5.
Colonel Cheddar, and Stream Elements.
Funny that
We Are the
stream
Horizon
always
No,
also.
he's the broadcaster.
Yeah, that one doesn't count.
Okay.
Not like our
Well-
best viewer, Stream Elements.
How are we feeling about DC's The Penguin premiering tonight at 9?
counts. Oh, didn't you know
That's
that?
I'm getting
thing
the,
that
I'm getting the
exists?
same ad right now.
Whoa, wait. We can't just skip past the quiz show that I'm sure Alex has planned and put together for us, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep.
I cannot believe Colin
Question
Farrell is
one.
actually in this fucking show. It's wild.
Wait, is
This
he the
is a-
penguin?
Yeah.
The quiz
What
show is a
the
different
heck?
format this time. It's just like kind of an open-ended question and answer, and I assign points as I see fit. So, question 1: how do we feel about the Penguin
Didn't know it was a thing.
airing tonight? I didn't know that this existed.
Zero feelings.
I mean, I bet it'll be good. I love Colin Farrell. The Batman is excellent. I bet it's.
Penguins
Fine.
are adorable.
I rest my case.
Is it gonna have Is it gonna have the Batman in it?
Probably not.
Since
What's
when?
what's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
I can't imagine they'd put Batman in a movie and not call it Batman.
It's a TV show.
Oh, well. Yeah,
Well, in
I
that
don't know.
case.
Yeah, then they would do it, right?
They might.
Sorry
Yes,
to give
they
you guys
did.
whiplash and switch subjects, but like, since when does Twitch just broadcast Thursday Night Football?
Oh, I heard that there was gonna be something they were trying to start to do. Increase some viewership.
The NFL's lacking that much that they need to use Twitch.
No, more like Twitch is like paying
Yeah.
NFL
Oh,
for the rights.
I was
Try to
about
get
to
people
say,
on
I feel
Twitch.
like even with like anything that's happened over the years, like NFL's always been fine. Like,
Yeah,
it's
pretty
whatever.
much.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the one reason to still have cable. If you
Yeah,
like
exactly.
football, if you like live sports.
Have you guys all heard my gripes about Major League Baseball streaming?
Mm-mm.
Oh boy,
No.
now I'm excited.
Uh,
Let me settle in.
I wanted to watch Orioles games, and so I went on. I don't have cable, so I went on MLB's website, and they have streaming packages. And I was like, cool. And then I looked, and I saw they have a streaming package that's cheaper that you could pick one team, and you only watch that team's games. And I was like, oh, well, I don't give a shit about anybody but the Orioles, so I'll just pay for that. So I pay for that, and then turns out. I discovered this after the first time I tried to watch the game, that the Orioles have a deal with Baltimore's local cable company where you are not allowed to watch the Orioles anyway within like Maryland unless you watch through this one cable news channel.
Wow.
So
What?
I paid them to stream Orioles games, but if I open up the app to stream Orioles games, it tells me, sorry, we don't stream it in your area.
Wow. VPN solved.
That's what I did. But like
Yeah, VPN outside of your
it's
state. That's so
infuriating
funny.
that like
Yeah,
they
that's
weren't at any
lunacy.
point in the payment process like, hey, by the way, where do you live? Because like
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like
Might
that'd be
not
a
work.
question that they would have.
my
Yeah.
streaming service that I paid specifically to stream Orioles games.
Wow.
None. Just
There
none of
was
it.
a
So
there was a
dumb.
little bit there where we weren't paying for Verizon anymore, but for some reason I could log into our Verizon account and stream sports, no problem.
Like they didn't turn that part off.
Yeah.
It's like the 90s when you could walk out to the cable box and like plug some crap in and get
To run a
all the
line.
channels.
Mm.
Alright, guys, welcome to
Anyway.
our sports cast. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the O's.
Look how far
They-
we've made it into the cast without
Talk about-
introducing ourselves.
Let's not
They're
talk
good.
about the O's in the
Sports
last
and-
week or two.
90s media distribution on today's episode of the forecast, episode 204. We're coming at you with some new court cases, some defunct games, some new consoles even. It's going to be a blast. Of course, video games. We always talk about video games.
Mhm.
Do we have a conversation primer, or is
Well, we
this-
haven't, Alex. We haven't introduced ourselves yet.
Oh, sure.
We're like halfway through the cast. Don't even know
We had
what
a
we
There's
are.
a
very-
new viewer and they don't know who we are.
Listen.
Look, I mean, they're gonna look at the screen and go, "Who's that guy? He doesn't look like a Kate. What's
Yeah.
going
Wait.
on?"
When Daddy
That's true.
Aaron's away,
Oh God.
the kids will play. I didn't even realize.
Oh,
Why didn't you tell me your name was Kate the whole time?
I just noticed
You-
it.
Gosh,
Whoopsies.
Hey, what's up, Kate?
this
This
is
is going so
because
good.
I blame Aaron for this because instead of using
Mhm.
the guest slot that we have set up for guests to appear, he just changed your slot to Kate when you were not here.
How
That is not
quickly
how
I
we're
am
supposed
forgotten.
to do it.
Wow.
This is why every single time I join the cast after I skip one, it takes like well, actually it didn't today, but usually it takes like a solid 10 minutes to figure out my audio channel.
Let me figure out how to even fix that because I never touched that part of this software. Anyway, my name's Alex.
I'm usually Ben Diaz, but today I'm Kate.
I'm Caleb Juno.
I'm Chad McConnell.
And I'm Jake Fetterkyle. Wow, we're doing so
We
good.
did it.
We
We're
did it.
on
And now
fire.
we can start the cast.
You guys ever
Finally.
think that like inside of our names, maybe we should do like 3 names, like Chad Idraxis McCausland, so that people
Oh.
know?
And Caleb Juno.
Caleb Juno
I
Juno.
love that. Yeah. No notes.
I've always wanted to be known as Ben Colonel Cheddar Diaz.
Jake the Great.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Jake the Great Better Kyle.
I never mind. This sucks. Bad idea. Road to Aberdeen. My bad.
Do we have a question from the community?
Yeah,
Or
I got
are
you.
we
I got you.
okay?
I got you. Well, actually,
Okay.
it's not me that got you. It's
The community.
Shadow User 994959.
That's
my
a lot of
favorite.
numbers.
Yeah.
Oh man, that doesn't
And it
sound AI
says-
Is that a
generated.
zip code?
Who knows? It's probably a birthday. It says, "What's a piece of entertainment that you feel didn't get recognition it deserved?"
Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Didn't know that was gonna happen.
Did you
That's-
submit this one, Ben?
Man.
Is that from you?
What a perfect answer from you.
Screw that.
Didn't even hesitate.
Combo 2.
Home but
Two.
2, huh?
This fucking guy.
Good game.
But two.
Caleb went in on the meme answer train.
That's a toughie.
Surely I can think of something I really liked that the masses didn't necessarily like that much.
Pendragon.
Just pick any
Freaking
of
Gravity
the Hallmark
Falls.
movies.
Gravity Falls is kind of like it's got a pretty big following, I think.
That's
It
the
should,
thing.
it should
now.
have more, though.
I can think of a lot of things that have like cult followings, but maybe didn't get like commercial success. Like Okami's the first thing on my mind, but I feel like a lot of people really do enjoy that game.
Yeah.
It just didn't sell well enough for them not to close the studio immediately.
I'd say Okami
Right.
falls in the same bucket as like I couldn't say piece of entertainment that doesn't get the recognition it deserves and be like, oh man, Firefly. Like
Yeah,
it does
right,
now.
exactly.
Like
yeah,
That's
it
true.
it
absolutely
Yeah.
just
does
didn't at the
now.
time.
Yeah.
Okami falls in I feel like the same bucket where
Mhm.
didn't at the time, but a lot of people
Yeah.
talk about how great it is now.
I just saw a thing about how Firefly is in the Alien universe.
No,
What?
it's not.
No.
Counterpoint. Listen, I hear you.
Apparently-
It's not.
Alex,
Apparently
you
Joss
don't get to
Whedon
answer
said
this question anymore.
that they're in the same universe. Alien
Mhm.
and also Blade Runner.
I guess you can just say stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also
So-
in the same universe as Star Wars. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
it's nuts. And Star Trek, all one universe.
There's
Just
like,
a different galaxies.
there's some HUD that has like the Wayland Yutani logo somewhere. and Firefly.
I mean, is this like how all those like not sitcoms but like soap operas share a universe because there were like crossover episodes?
Maybe.
It's like General Hospital or something ends where it turns out it was all a dream inside this kid's snow globe. And so they just keep adding all of these shows that take place inside of a snow globe. Let me see if I can find this. I'll Google it. This is more
That
important than
sounds
this
sick.
question.
This is more important than this podcast.
You know how many episodes of General Hospital there have been? It's still running. It's like the
gotta be at
longest
least, like,
running piece
5.
of media. Yeah, at least 5 episodes.
It's the longest running, huh?
It's up there.
I'd have thought it had been like As the World Turns or What's the Bold and the
Piece.
Beautiful.
I mean, technically, I think the longest running is like some of these news programs.
Mm.
That's not a fun answer.
That's like, yeah.
It's called the Tommy Westphall universe. The show was Saint Elsewhere. And through various crossover episodes, Breaking Bad, The Office, both the UK version and the American version, Supernatural, The Andy Griffith Show, Firefly, the old 60s Batman, and others are all connected in this one snow globe universe.
What the heck?
That's great.
Some snow globe.
Big snow globe.
General Hospital has over 15,000 episodes.
Jeez.
It's
Oh,
been
you know
running,
what? I've
been
got
running
a-
61 years.
There's this podcast really like called The Forecast. It's really
Really
flown under the
underappreciated.
radar. Yeah. It's really good. They almost never talk about sports
There
for
we
like
go.
10
Might
minutes
be
at the start.
in a snow globe though.
Ah, God, I hope so.
It could be. There's this other piece of media, Crown and Conquest.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really
They
good.
almost- They're really consistent with their uploads. They never stop for weeks at a time.
All these other actual plays making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they shouldn't be. It should be Crown and Conquest.
Yeah. That's the really good one. Jesus Christ.
All right. So has anybody answered the overblown media question except for me and Caleb?
I said the Pendragon series.
Okay.
I think it's
Book
underrated.
series. Yeah, I don't really. I can't
Books
think of
are
one.
pieces of media.
Oh my God, what a twist.
What a twist!
Frickin', I used to read through those in a week. Books were great. And then I stopped reading altogether.
Amen.
That happens. Adulthood, etc. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's too
Wow,
hard.
Jake, do you only
Yeah.
watch popular stuff?
I
Boring.
guess.
You could literally just say Panzermädels or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's appropriately held in esteem.
God of War Ragnarok.
Really?
Game of the Year contender God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
underappreciated.
It's
Underappreciated.
Shouldn't
Yeah.
have been a contender. Should have been a finalist.
It
should have been the
should
winner.
Be appreciated even more.
DBZ the
Game of the
Breakers.
BBC The Breakers, yeah.
Everyone loves that one.
I missed out on Penguin Heist.
Penguin Heist. See, I'll have her meme answers. I don't have a real one.
Mhm. Well, that's probably good enough.
Blade Dance of Elementalers.
Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is a good enough answer to cover all of us, honestly.
I think that makes sense.
Yes!
I think that
I
makes
win.
I had
sense.
an answer too. Thank you very much.
No,
Yeah,
no
your
topics.
That
answer's
was
dumb.
also serious.
Your answer's
Dang.
No,
dumb.
no.
And what do you think about Pendragon?
I read it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Is it
It's
one of
just
like
that, like-
60 King Arthur books?
We bring up Kingdoms of Amalur like every episode.
I don't know. Why would that happen? I don't
Oh,
know.
except for the one where it was Ben's library. Ben didn't bring it up that episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it got mentioned last episode, weirdly. Can't imagine why.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up, so I put up a flashback last time because several of us were out. Our cold open to that was talking about Quentin Tarantino's top films of the decade for like 2010 to 2020. And the only film we knew at the time was Dunkirk was at number 2. That was the list. That was the entire list. We didn't know any of the other entries.
Wow.
The reason
So
we
I
knew that
w-
one was because he said it, right?
Yeah, he said it like offhandedly in some interview or something, and then everybody picked it up and it was like the top 10 movies of the decade from Quentin Tarantino. Number 2 is Dunkirk.
That's the whole article?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
So-
no notes. That's great.
It's been
man.
like 4 years since we put that episode out, so I went back and tried to find out if we know any of the other ones now. And we actually do know that number 1 is The Social Network, and number
Oh.
10 is Unstoppable. That movie about that train that can't be stopped
I don't
with
even know.
Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
What?
I have no
They're
idea
in a
what that
movie
movie
together?
is.
Didn't know that.
Those are the only other 2 that we know, though. The number 3 through 9, we do not know still.
Huh. Good for
Also-
him, man.
It's really weird because The Social Network is his number 1, but he has another list from the year that The Social Network came out, and he put it at number 2.
What was number 1? Or do we not know?
I think it was Toy Story, whichever Toy Story came out that year. 3, maybe? 4?
Probably
maybe?
3. 3 would be my guess.
3.
Final answer.
Spoiler alert. In Unstoppable, they stop the train.
What? False
know.
advertising.
Seriously.
I know,
Everything's
right?
spoiled.
Bunch of bullshit.
Crazy. So it's cool updates on that. I actually put that in the notes on the episode, but if you didn't read the notes, I figured I'd update everybody here. It's very important information to have. Other important information to have: Nintendo is suing Pal World.
Took long enough.
Yeah, this
This
is
is
Honestly, I saw
something-
this article and I went, wait, just now?
Yeah, right?
That is the weird part about this, because everybody thought they were going to sue them immediately, and then they didn't, and then everybody was like, "Oh, it must be okay," and then they waited like a year.
Yeah, they're getting
I wonder
sued.
if it just took them a long time to go through all the legal process.
Yeah, maybe.
Problem is there
People
were
like learned about
too
it.
many copyright infringements. It took them a long time to put them all into one legal
Well,
document.
I think the issue was that they can't really ding them on the Pokemon, if you will. Because if you look at Dragon Quest and Pokemon, like Nintendo took from Dragon Quest a lot of models. But there's creative freedom there. As long as you change it enough that it, you're able to use it in your own game in a different way, then it's fine. But the thing is the gameplay is kind of identical, which is basically like throw Pokeball, catch Pokemon,
Mhm.
and I think that's where they're really dinging them.
Shoot Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, that's that's
I
where it's
played
the
that
creative
game.
freedom portion, right? The building the
they-
village, shooting with guns.
I've seen cited it's multiple patent infringements, but I haven't seen any specifics about
Mhm.
which patents. So I could see it being like we have a patent on capturing monsters inside of ball objects.
Orbs.
Yeah. Yeah, so throw squares instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. Did anything come of? I don't know if you remember back when Power Warp came out, people were alleging that they actually stole like models. I don't know if anything ever came of that.
I think that was a lie.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. It seemed like speculation even at the time,
Yeah.
but
I think that was Nintendo fanboys just trying to
that
make
makes
sure
sense.
that
Trying to
Power
cope.
World wasn't gonna be successful.
That makes sense. Good news, I have an answer to the opening question now. I've just been scrolling through my Steam library until I found
Oh.
something. Paradise Killer is my answer.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a really cool game from like 2020. It's a great game. I feel like nobody remembers it.
Nobody
That was
knows
really,
about
really
it,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like this weird 2D, 3D, surrealist detective game. It was really fucking cool.
The banging soundtrack.
Yeah, great soundtrack. There were demons. Weird fucking game. I love it so much. More people should talk about it. Anyways, back to the podcast.
Apparently, Pocket Pair has responded publicly saying they have no idea what patents they could be infringing upon.
Ooh, get him.
So,
What company would not say that?
sure.
Yeah, right.
I did
Oh
not
no, we
have
know which ones.
sexual
We got
Yeah.
you.
with that one.
Those.
Oh, those
we
ones.
didn't think those mattered that much.
Oops. Speaking of something that doesn't matter that much,
Hey, got him.
That's funny. Yeah,
That's
so
PlayStation Pro.
long rumored, finally confirmed PlayStation Pro has been announced.
It's 700 USD, and it does not appear to do anything. They showed like these side-by-side images, and it's like, you've put the same image twice. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Hey, listen, if you had the same TV side by side and you put the PlayStation side by side and you were in person, you'd see something.
Hey, man, it's so possible you would see something. I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna like visually look any different is the thing. I think you're just gonna get better frame rates. I think that is really hard to show off in a video side by side.
Yeah, especially if the video is not
if
a high
the
frame rate.
video is like not running at 60 or whatever.
Just like, I feel like there are already so few games that really take advantage of like the PS5 hardware already. Like, I feel like I could name on one hand the games where I'm like, oh wow, this is like, it's like a next gen thing. It feels like this wouldn't have been possible on the PS4. You know what I mean?
Sure, but also at the same time, pretty much everything I've played on the PS5 is, besides God of War, I think, feels like I'm sacrificing for frame rate.
Yeah,
because there's always a quality of performance mode.
Sure.
And it's like, obviously I want to play performance mode because I'm used to PC gaming and I'm used to having above 30 frames per second. It's especially apparent in Final Fantasy 16. That's probably the worst one that I've played.
I am.
That the performance mode to hit 60 drops the resolution like crazy. It gets super blurry. I ended up just playing it at 30 frames in quality mode because it looked so much worse in performance mode.
Yeah.
So something like that thrown in a PlayStation 5 Pro, if it could look like the quality mode but play like the performance mode, that is like the promise that they're trying to make. That you won't have to choose between the two options anymore. You just get the best of both worlds.
$700 worth?
Yeah, well, I also
if
feel
you
like
don't have a PlayStation yet and there's a backlog of games that you want to play that you haven't played yet, maybe I could see it.
And you've won the lottery.
Yeah.
Like, if you've been specifically waiting this whole time and you're like, yeah, I'd like to play all these Final Fantasy games and God of War and all this kind of stuff, but
All these Final Fantasy games. Is that 3?
Remake, Rebirth, 16.
Oh, that's a lot of hours right there.
I mean, they're long games. I get it.
Yeah. I will say, for my position, PlayStation Pro looks decent just because I don't own a PlayStation. But if I owned a PlayStation, I probably wouldn't look at it twice.
Makes sense. I mean, how much is a normal PS5 these days? $450?
This does.
Wow.
All right.
So for an extra $250, you could have
Slightly better frame rate. Pretty good.
I mean, yeah. At that point, it's like when you're buying a graphics card for your computer.
Yeah.
Do you buy a 4060 right now, or do you buy a 4080 for hundreds of dollars more?
the 4060.
See, you know what these reactions tell me? There's not going to be a low stock on this. You're just going to be able to pick one up.
Well, that could be.
I bet it will still
That's
be
probably
sold out
true.
instantly. 100% it's going to be sold out immediately.
If
And it's going to be
nothing else.
scalped all over the place.
I was gonna say, I bet scalpers will be all over it.
Yeah.
Man, how could you like what? You buy it and then you sell it for like $900? Like, get out of here.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Nobody's going to buy that.
yeah, I can't imagine.
Regular PlayStations are going for that price when you couldn't get them, so...
That's true. Very strange.
Crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it go north of 1,000 on eBay.
I mean, man, people are selling Concord on eBay for $100. It's Wild West out there.
There's also a special version of the PlayStation's coming out. Alongside this, they just announced the 30th anniversary editions.
Yeah. So that will be released on November 21st. I don't know when the PlayStation Pro is going to be released, but yeah, the 30th anniversary will be releasing then. I think you can pre-order it next Thursday, on the 26th of September. Supposedly for the 30th anniversary, which actually it looks so cool. It looks like a PlayStation 1, but it's a PlayStation 5. You also get like the old school look on your controller. Has like the colored buttons for the X. You know, the X is blue, the square is pink, triangles green, circles also pink, red, whatever you want to call that color. But no, it looks really cool. But there's only 12,300 units that are going to be sold, and each one of them is going to whoever buys one, it'll actually be etched in like what number console it is.
Wow.
How did they come up with 12,300 as the number?
No idea. But it's on the PlayStation blog, so you know I'm just reading off that.
November 7th is when the Pro ships. So
Okay.
this will be out
So you
a
have
bit
to wait a
after
little
the
bit
Pro.
longer. Yeah. I would love to get my hands on this one, but you know this one's
The
probably
number-
even
Are
worse.
these
Yeah, it
going to be
seems unlikely.
pros?
For reference on quick Google search, the 12,300, the number represents the month and date of the first PlayStation console launch.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm.
Weird that they're not launching it on the date.
They launched it on the 300th day of December.
My head hurts.
No, they launched it on December 3rd.
I know.
December 3rd, 2000.
I googled because I wasn't sure if it was
1994
3rd or 30th.
What's
Yeah, it could have been
happening?
30th.
Yeah. It would have been
What's the 00 for?
it would have been in the 90s, yeah.
Because they wanted to make more of them.
94.
94.
It would have
okay.
been about 30 years ago. if you
Yeah.
Do the math.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
How
Carry
old
the
I am.
7.
My favorite part about this package is that the USB-C cable they give you to connect your controller, the end of it that goes into the system looks like the PS1 connector.
No
Oh, wow.
way. Really?
It's really cool, but it's
That's
got like
great.
a tiny little USB-C dongle instead of the full width.
I love that. Yeah, these look cool. It's a
Yeah,
good
no.
idea.
If it was possible to get one, I might be tempted.
Right?
Yeah,
How much is it?
it's a good question. Is it going to be the same price as a regular system?
Good question.
Probably
There's
more.
no, yeah,
No information on that.
probably
Okay.
be 1,000. You know,
Yeah.
Might be.
Only 1,000.
Wouldn't be surprised. The real question is how much is it going to be on eBay?
Probably 25,000.
I believe that, honestly.
All right, flying right through this news hour. Destiny 2 put out some information about the future of the game, their roadmap for
this is where
upcoming
the
content.
podcast comes to a halt, boys. Buckle up. There's been lots of stuff.
where.
Oh yeah. Are you saying that our podcast hasn't really got off the
I'm
ground?
sorry, it's been lively. Don't get me wrong.
So there was a little bit there after the final shape where everybody was depressed and everybody was like, "Oh my god, Destiny 2's dead. It's over. It's really over." You never see that graph where it's like, "We're in it, boys. We're really in it. Oh my god, it's good." And it goes down and it's like, "It's over." Yeah. So we were at it's mega super super duper over. But then they came out with a bunch of blogs. There's like 4 different blogs that you can kind of look into, developer insight. A lot of cool ideas going into this. Some ideas that's just like you scratch your head and you're like, why hasn't this been implemented ever before? Such as the portal. The portal is being introduced, which is a place where you can go to click on solo ops, fireteam ops, pinnacle ops, crucible, or events. It's instead of going to the destination tab and having to click through all that bullcrap, it's just right there on your screen. You want to do a pinnacle op? Boom, you're going to go do a pinnacle thing right there. You don't have to find it through every single planet, figure out which dungeon or...
Like a nicely organized
Yeah,
menu for activities.
It's a nice organized menu. It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. That's
Did I
what
see
a
you're
concept.
also going to be able to grab the bounties from there as well for the relevant activities?
Maybe. I don't see it in this... whatchamacallit, this
That would
mock-up.
probably be too far, Caleb. The technology's not there yet.
You're let me do a control F
Bungie-
bounty real quick.
Bungie needs a few more years to innovate on that. So
There's no bounty for the control F, so I don't
maybe
think so.
Saw something else.
It could be though. I mean, there is. So there's a there's some. There's a bunch of redacted stuff. So maybe. some of the cool things that I think that they're implementing is instead of playing the same old Grandmasters or same old Strikes or whatever, you can put some modifiers on them. So it can make it a little harder, and you can get better rewards that way, which is kind of interesting. It'll still see the same old activities, but, it'll have a little twist onto it. So, maybe hopefully it's not just like more champions or harder hitting champions. Hopefully they get a little creative with that. They're also coming out with a dungeon here soon. It'll be on October 11th. So that will be part of the episode 2, The Promise of the Final Shape, releasing multiple dungeons. So that's cool. But they also have stated that they are doing like 2 expansions per year instead of doing like a major expansion. It's going to be like mini expansions that you can pay for. Hopefully they don't have it at $100 each time. That'd be insane for the mini expansions. Hopefully they drop the price a little bit. But we have expansion codename Apollo and expansion codename Behemoth currently. That's going to be mid-June 2025 and mid-December 2025. So those are kind of 6-month spreads. But before that, we're still going through episode 2 and episode 3, which is Revenant and Heresy. Revenant will have the dungeon, like I said, the new exotic weapon, new exotic mission, new quest, new story, new activities, new mods, some perks and armors, stuff like that. Heresy will also have a new exotic weapon, new exotic mission, and the second Final Shape dungeon. A lot of people are excited that they are bringing back the Icebreaker, which none of you will understand what that means because you never played Destiny 1, but if Frank was on the podcast, he'd probably be excited.
No, he'd just be mad. We're like, oh, so you mean like in Destiny 1, huh?
If
they had it in
that
Destiny
would be
1.
on brand.
Yeah. That's pretty much all that's going down right now.
The big takeaways that I see from this is like no major expansions anymore. No more big yearly expansion.
I mean, we knew that, though. They said that a while ago.
We have mini expansions instead, which does remind me a lot of year 1 of Destiny 2 when they did the Osiris DLC and they did the...
Oh gosh, the Osiris DLC.
They did the Mars one too. What was that one called?
That was the Osiris one, right? Oh no, okay, yeah.
Mercury was a location that is never coming back. That was in that first mini expansion.
Okay,
but yeah, it reminds
Mercury back.
It reminds me of that though, which does not make me excited because those weren't good. Hopefully they learned from that and like these end up being good. It sounds more like they were trying to do like self-contained stories in them, so that could be something.
Weren't the expansions more or less self-contained stories?
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like the progression of the meta narrative and the 10-year journey and the battle of light and dark and all that.
Sure, I would just think that taking that away doesn't make it more enticing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would think part of the reason it's like, oh, I want to check it out. I don't want to miss out on, the Radial Master, whatever the fuck.
Exactly.
True.
There is on this roadmap, it says Portal screen, and it says Portal also works as direct access to current expansion activities and running events like Iron Banner or Festival of Loss, as well as bounties or seasonal challenges.
There you go. Bounties.
Nice.
Bounties are probably going to be there.
Hopefully that means you can actually pick them up there, not that it just shows what bounties you have picked up there.
Yeah. Oh, God. Why did you say that?
Yeah, you can read it either way, for sure.
Oh, no.
Caleb works at Bungie. He's been in charge of the bounty system the whole time.
Gosh, now I would have scrapped the whole thing long ago.
Yeah, there's also been confirmation that they are definitely going to focus on new player experience. Don't know what that means or how they'll be able to focus on that, but there definitely needs to be something to where somebody joining into the game doesn't just like have this like giant thing in front of them that they have no direction to. And when it tells you about Guardian ranks, which is supposed to be your kind of intro and your thing that you kind of seek activities for, it flashes on your screen for like half a second and it's gone. So like there needs to be something to get people into this game, because it's a live service game. That's how it's going to survive as new players. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the onboarding experience for Destiny 2 is pretty bad.
I mean, Alex onboarded you, so
Yeah, I mean, I just log on. I'm like, I don't know. I'll be like, oh, let's do this mission. Where is it? I don't know. Let me Google it for like 5 minutes.
It really-
to
so you
figure out where
gotta-
we gotta go.
It really wasn't until Final Shape that you actually started to get a lot of how Destiny worked in the systems and
Yeah.
like build crafting, and actually started getting excited about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
We had you playing a bunch before that, but it was literally just us
miserable.
like pointing you to do certain things, and you would do them.
Mhm.
oh yeah,
That was
you need to do that mission. So go talk to Banshee. He'll give you a quest. You'll have to go to the moon and kill like 30 things.
Oh
then
my
you have
gosh.
to go talk to
All right.
Ikora.
Now
And
we're
then
going on the
number of
raid.
times
The problem
would
was he'd
do
get
all
to
that-
Banshee and he'd be
Yes!
like, he doesn't have a quest for me. What are you talking about?
And you'd be like,
Oh,
he
no.
should have
All
a
right,
quest.
I
have to do it
no, he
now.
doesn't.
I have to go through the Shadowkeep campaign first. Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
And then we get through all that, and we get into the raid, and we're like, all right, your job is to stand on this plate and kill things.
And then I stand on the plate. It's like, okay, I died immediately. What do I do? It's like, well, try not to do
Try
that
not to do-
anymore. Okay, thanks, guys. This is great. Love Destiny. Fun game.
Oh man.
Good times.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see how they execute on all this stuff, but I'm also like sad that it kind of seems like the golden years are over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also sad that they're like doubling down on saying like we're not going to make Destiny 3. Like why not?
Yeah, I kind of felt like they were kind of jockeying for that. Their story ended, and they were switching to seasonal release. So I was like, oh, to tie people over until Destiny 3 comes out.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the
fresh-
middle.
A fresh like new engine, like upgraded graphics, new like
If you
stuff
want
to chase after.
if you want to start like a better new user journey, a fresh start with a fresh story would be pretty good. Because
Oh,
a
yeah.
big intimidating thing with Destiny is, who is that guy? What's going on? Why do I
Yeah.
care?
For sure. I think this would be a pretty good time. Like if I was at Bungie currently and I was looking for a new player experience, I would want to hard push marketing on this next phase that we're going into, because the last story is already concluded. So you can
Sure.
start this next phase and intro people to these characters, and you can pretty much like make it to where like veterans might look at like, oh, why is Ikora saying this stuff kind of thing, but like,
Mhm.
oh, we're just trying to get new players, and that's why she's like, revealing some of her backstory, or like,
Sure.
but like definitely hard focus on like, this is where you should start playing the story, and just bring them into like, maybe give them a couple exotics when they first buy it or something, and like they could just like get into the game. If I look at like Destiny 3 as like something that they should work on, I don't know, just being an MMO player and seeing like World of Warcraft from conception all the way till now, and then seeing what they did with like Classic all the way till now, like I kind of feel there is no wiggle room to go to a second game. Like you pretty much, you can update the engine, you can bring stuff over. It's still a fun game, but innovation and making sure that the game is always like ever expanding, ever evolving, on the same like thing that you've always been playing, I think it's more important for some MMO players to have their character and everything that they've worked towards than a fresh start. And so I think you would lose some of the veteran player base if you did that. A lot of people would stay on Destiny 2 while others would move over to Destiny 3.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people stayed on Destiny 1 when Destiny 2 came out, right?
Yeah. If they did it in a way where like you could take over your exotics, but then leave behind like your legendaries or something, or craftables, like maybe that could be cool. I don't know. I still don't see Bungie, and especially Sony, after they paid how much money they paid for this, letting this die and or not make money. So if they see that their 2 expansions flop, they'll probably reevaluate and go on the annual expansion release.
Yeah.
But I think they know for a fact that annual expansions aren't the moneymaker, because that's a one-time buy, and then people leave after like 2 months.
Mhm.
Nobody's spending anything on microtransactions, and so with this though, if they can execute it correctly, where like to me, I've never looked at the story as the front runner for what Destiny 2 is. It's always been like the dungeons, the raids, the content you can play together with your friends, getting new weapons, the quest lines and stuff like that. So if they can make sure that they double down on all that content while like kind of doing a story, and like the story's decent, then I think the double expansion per year would be good. If it goes back to Curse of Osiris, thumbs down.
Curse of Osiris, man.
Yeah.
Well, what's what is it? Warmine? Was that even good?
No.
Yeah. So let's hope that Apollo and Behemoth aren't the same. I'm excited to see what episode 2. Episode 2 is coming out in like 20 days. And so I'm excited to see what they do with that, because episode 1 was a god awful. It was so boring. What they are doing is they're letting you play the entire story from start to finish as soon as it launches. There's no gatekeeping there, so that's pretty cool. That also means that you're gonna have a ton of people that fly through the story and then complain there's no story. So
Mhm.
it's it's give and take.
I would much prefer that than the time gating.
Time gating is dumb, but also, yeah. I mean,
I prefer Destiny experience is like they release new stuff, I play through the new stuff for a while, and then I go get to play other games again.
yeah,
I like the
that's
ebb and flow.
that's not what they want you to do, though.
I know. Like, I know they want me to only play Destiny forever as the only game I play, but I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's too many other things I want to play.
I mean, I'm curious. Other than Chad, has anyone played Destiny 2 at all recently?
No.
Huh?
Not since the last time we raided.
The only reason I play Destiny, and the
Because you have a
reason I
problem.
have been playing Destiny, is because that I've found a group that likes to raid. So
Mhm.
it allows me to teach people raids, and like also get the red borders and get the exotics and get better at damage rotations, and like that's all I like that. That's fun for me. If I did not have this group that I'm playing with currently, absolutely no way I'd be playing Destiny right now.
In other Destiny news, we recently got confirmation that Destiny Rising is like still a thing. There's a number of people that have worked on it in the past and or present that have leaked stuff to like Jason Schreier and some other people. And this is like essentially it's a mobile game. It's essentially Destiny Immortal, like Diablo Immortal, made by the same Chinese developers.
Oh, it's the same company.
And it's a prequel to Destiny 1, where supposedly it'll be playing as like Destiny characters instead of your own character. Yeah, it's a thing that's gonna happen still. It's still gonna come out.
Alright, I mean,
Supposedly it plays pretty well from what we've heard.
they gotta do something, right? I think they're at their lowest player count ever on Destiny 2.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
So,
I
like,
was,
gotta do something.
I was talking to some of the guys that I play with, and I was like, yeah, so I don't want to play Trials anymore, because when the final shape was released, there was like 200,000 people playing Trials. And then the next week it was like 150, then the next week it was like 120, then the next week it was like 70, and then like the last week it was like 50. I don't know what this week was. I look it up real quick. And we
It's
can also
probably
talk
not a bigger
about
number.
yeah, it's probably real bad. So it is, if it'd like to load. It won't load. Cool. 58,000 was week 187. 188 won't load for me for some reason. But yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say I'm the worst Trials player in the world, but when it's that low,
Sure.
I get smacked. Like I can't
Sure.
do anything.
If you're not in the top 100,
Yeah.
you're the worst.
Yeah. It's so bad. And then like they released a thing called a persistence card. It was an update. The card was already there, but the update was if you're in a squad of 3 none of your losses will actually count on that card. So as long as you get 7 wins in that, like whatever time span that you're playing that, you will get an adept weapon. But the thing is, we tried that. We literally did not get a kill for like, I don't know, 7 matches in a row. So we're like, this is like, if I can't get a kill, none of the other casuals are probably getting kills. So like nobody's actually using this card. There's no incentive to play trials. Therefore, once again, only the top 100 are really benefiting from trials.
Mhm.
So it's just a dead section of the game. Man, I really wish this would load, but whatever.
Yeah, multiplayer games are so tough because it's like, even if it looks okay, like I feel like this is a little bit. I mean, Concord had a lot of other issues, but it's like you don't know about it, so you don't get it. So then the player numbers are low, so then you don't get it because the player numbers are low, and
Right.
it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone's like nervous about it, so no one gets it, and then you hear nobody's playing it, so then you're definitely not getting it. It's just like, man, it's brutal. It's tough out there.
Yeah, I was like super lucky that I got my Flight of the Pigeon Flawless card on week 185 because that was when there was 112 people playing, 112,000 people playing. Which the Flight of the Pigeon Flawless is like winning without ever being behind the enemy team. So like I could never do like they had like 2 wins on me and I had 1 or whatever. I always had like I could tie, I could be like 1-1, but you know, you always had to win every match while leading. So it went from 112,000 to 75,000 players, then to 58,000 players, which again is probably worse. It's probably like 40, 30, somewhere around there on the next weekend because it just keeps dropping. And there's just no incentive. There's no incentive for casuals to play trials at all because like there's no loot that they're getting just because they're getting stopped. Like this is they've set it up in a way that like you have to be good at trials for trials to benefit you.
Right. And since it's a stomp, it's not just like you're going to do it for the joy of the game. It's probably a miserable experience.
Yeah, I mean, you could level up, say, 14, and you can get like the weapons and the like shards and stuff that he has on like rank 11, 16, etc. But it takes so many matches if you're losing constantly like that.
So minimal.
Yeah. Since Alex brought up the mobile Destiny, should we bring up Marathon? Just some of the leaks that have happened. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Not
Heard
much.
anything recently.
Yeah, pretty much the couple things that I've heard is Marathon is still in development, obviously. It's a class-based extraction shooter. So that's interesting. Everybody keeps bringing up the terminology. Yeah, it's not a hero shooter. It's like, yeah, if it's an extraction shooter, it's probably not going to be a hero shooter. Just,
Sure.
Just news alert. It's $40. Supposedly, that's going to be the price tag. Which,
Interesting.
like, if you really look at the extraction shooter model, I guess pretty much every extraction shooter is kind of paid to play. Like Tarkov, Hunt Showdown. I don't really know what PUBG's paid to play, and that has an extraction shooter coming out. Don't know any other extraction shooters really that are like free to play.
The COD one, what's that called?
Extraction. Probably.
I know what you're talking about, but I also don't know the
It's
name.
like part of Warzone or whatever.
Yeah. Makes sense. DMZ.
DMZ, there you go.
Came to me. I wouldn't put that one with like a Tarkov or Hunt Showdown or anything like that because I don't know. I guess you could. What's that?
Dead Rock.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it could flop just based on a price tag being on it, but at the same time, a lot of people like Bungie's style of multiplayer, so you'll do good.
We'll find out.
They're gonna have to have an impressive open beta, probably.
Yeah.
That will get people hooked. That will then get people to buy the game. Unfortunate. In tabletop news, I wanted to bring up Ember because this month the Foundry guys have been playing with the Glass Cannon guys in their new setting and their new campaign called Ember. Ember is basically like this setting and story that is being built out for both D&D 5e and Foundry's own new system called Crucible. They kickstarted it, and they're making this like basically this huge campaign
Mm-hmm. The
that they
Kickstarter's
expect.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good.
The Kickstarter's still up right now. I wanted to say.
Okay,
They
it is.
are. Yeah, they are at $412,000 out of their $10,000 goal.
Great. So
They're just barely just on the
Just
cusp.
barely making it. Yeah.
go
Could
support
really
them to
use your
make sure it gets made, I guess.
It's up for 2 more weeks, or just under 2 more weeks, 13 days.
So what do you get?
So the base level is just the game Ember, which is, like Alex said, it's both like a tabletop campaign and like just a setting that you could do your own homebrew stuff in if you wanted to. Its own world. So you do need a license for Foundry Virtual Tabletop to play it, but
Sure.
you can also, as part of signing up for the Kickstarter, get a license at 50% off. You can just add it on to your pledge, or there are certain levels where you just get it tacked on for free, essentially.
Sure.
But it looks really cool. I've been watching the episodes of the Glass Cannon Network play with the founder of Foundry VTT. He's the one kind of GMing it, and it's really, really impressive what they've done with it. There are so many immersive features that go so far beyond just playing at a table. It's actually insane.
So that's the major selling point of this thing, is that it is specifically built for Foundry, and you can't play it without Foundry, and it has a bunch of features that you can only do digitally that you couldn't really do just tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
it's almost like a hybrid video game tabletop role-playing experience. So they have like for instance, there's like a full character creator built into it that you go through like a video game and make your character.
Yeah.
That's just a good idea, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's stuff like they have a whole world built out that is hex based, similar to Crown and Conquest, a popular actual play series on Twitch.tv.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can do
Every Monday
exploration
without
on it.
fail.
It's like 25,000 hexes that you can
Yeah.
explore.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. And they've got tons of pre-built maps, all with dynamic music linked to everything. The maps are all like fully animated, and there's like crazy things like moving platforms and like puzzles that you can engage with in exploration. That is more than just like, you know, a GM telling you, like describing a puzzle to you and you saying how you want to solve it. It's like actually like on the map. Yeah, it's just like it's a lot of like they have, what are they called? Vistas.
Vistas. I think Vistas are really cool.
Vistas are a new feature that is basically like a storytelling device where you can load into this scene that has the characters, like instead of like your traditional top-down tabletop view, it's like you load into like a scene with the characters like standing.
It's like a
As
2D
if-
side view,
Yeah.
and the
That's
characters
cool.
can like move in and out of different pieces in the environment. So if you have like a marketplace, people can be like, you know, behind the little market stalls and stuff. It's really, really immersive. It's really cool.
That's
Very
neat.
impressive. They also say that the campaign is really big. They estimate that it'll take about 3 years of weekly sessions for a group to get through.
I bet
Yeah.
we could do it in two.
So pretty big.
There's a codex system built into it that automatically tracks a bunch of things that you do.
Yeah, it tracks quests, people you've met, locations you've been to, with like short descriptions of them to remind you, so that you can like look back through where you've been, who you've seen, met, etc.
And so, which of you guys are backing this week and I'll play it?
Me and Aaron are splitting backing it.
Oh wow.
I knew one
That's
of
so
you nerds
funny.
would do it.
Oh yeah, I backed it, and he was like, "So, you already backed this?" I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "I'll split it with you." I was like, "Great, sure, let's do it."
Awesome. What level did you do?
We are in the deluxe level.
Deluxe.
Honestly, the funny thing is, I saw this on Kickstarter and I thought about backing it. And I went, you know what? No, somebody else in the group will do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Something that I think is cool about the world, they have a cosmological system with there's like these separate moons that all have specific magical consequences. There's like a water moon and a moon based on time, I think, but it can like
Time
impact
moon.
people's
Decay
Casting?
moon.
and your character's like born underneath a cosmological entity, whether it's a moon or the sun or something. And as those come like into what do they call it? What do they call it?
Waxing,
Like,
waning.
Yeah, waxing, waning, that kind of stuff.
Retrograde.
It can impact your like power level of your character, and events are kind of based around those throughout the campaign. Zenith is what I'm thinking of.
Zenith.
About like
It's really cool.
Last Encounter and Salvation's Edge. Zenith.
I don't remember. Oh, that's the
It's
name
just
of the
called
encounter.
Zenith. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't important. I've been fighting the urge to make a joke about that villain in Ruby whose name is Ember, but I haven't, so you're welcome for that.
Good job, good job.
hmm
He still has
They-
it, so
I'm a hero, yeah.
I think what's interesting is like you can play this in D&D 5e, but it doesn't use any of the D&D 5e like content. It's like all original ancestries and classes and stuff.
It currently
Oh.
uses the same classes.
It uses the same classes?
Yes. It's just the ancestries that are
Just the
new,
ancestries
I
that are
believe.
different?
Well, the ancestries and they're like the sign you're born under and the path that you're on, which is like another piece of your background of your character. So there's pieces added on to the 5e system, but it still uses the base classes from the 5e.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just like the world though, that's all original.
Yeah, they have a ton of original ancestries that are all specific to the world. Just a ton of really unique stuff. The one thing that I'm kind of disappointed by is the fact that it's either 5e or Crucible, because I think I have some fundamental issues with both systems.
Oh really?
We'll see. The last time I saw Crucible was like a year ago, so they could have remedied a lot of those.
It's still not done, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And the Glass Cannon Network is playing it in 5e because they're not showing off Crucible stuff yet.
Okay. So it could be vastly different at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right, back into crazy stuff that's happened in video games because we haven't been podcasting for a number of weeks. Concord, we've mentioned it a couple times already, just in passing.
We missed the entire rise and fall of Concord.
It's crazy
insane.
because it wasn't even out
The last time we cast. And it's already
And
canceled.
It's already been shoved into a dark closet somewhere.
So fucking funny. I think
Not even just canceled, also just removed from.
Yeah, you can't buy it. They
Playability.
refunded everyone. It's gone. It doesn't
they,
exist.
there was a lot of posts that people were just very confused and concerned because they would like launch their console and they'd like click on Concord and it's like this doesn't exist on your library anymore. And it's just like they just removed it from people's libraries. Like what the heck?
I
Yep.
can't believe people logged in and clicked on it.
Refunded,
That's crazy.
refunded everybody, took it all down. Their parting statement makes it sound like maybe it'll return in some capacity at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Which they
my
put so much money in that game, like maybe.
My suspicion is that it's going to relaunch free to play in like a year.
Yeah.
Just because it spent so long and they did not give it a chance to make any money.
Yeah. Lots
Earlier-
of microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier today, the game director stepped down from his position as game director
Oh wow.
and will be in a support role instead.
Absolutely wild.
Oh, he just got demoted. He didn't even get fired.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is that worse?
I don't
Kind
know.
of.
Still got a job.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes. Probably a pay cut.
You can spin getting
Probably.
fired as like, oh, we've mutually decided that I will step away from the company now, and blah blah blah. Getting demoted though is just like, nah,
Yeah.
man. Wait,
Fucked it up so bad. Like, man,
jeez.
I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't know what this guy did, but I feel like the problems with Concord, most of it is just they launched into a saturated market and charged $40 for it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
most
that's
of
the major thing.
If they
Like,
launched
to be
free
fair,
to
it
play,
sounds
I
like
think
the
we would have
base game
saw a
play's
different
not-
story.
Amazing.
Oh, sure. If it had been the best game ever, it probably could have survived that. But it sounds like it was okay. It sounds like it was fine.
I mean, you got to think
It was the
Overwatch is still being
acceptablest game
successful.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's playing Overwatch still.
Yeah.
Rivals, I think, was like in beta currently, like while this was all like
Yeah.
coming out, and so everybody's like, "Oh, this is about to be a free-to-play hero shooter, like totally going with Marvel Rivals." And so, like, if Concord right now dropped, where it's only Overwatch, really, I don't really know other hero shooters that you would play right now that's free to play. Marvel Rivals is coming out, but if Concord dropped free to play right now, there might be a player base because it's
Oh,
free
sure.
to play.
Yeah.
But
$40.
$40.
Absolutely unhinged, man. I keep seeing videos of people being like, "Oh, it failed because of this, that, and the other." I'm like, guys, it was infinitely more than all of its competition.
Yeah, you also got to think, like, you don't want to put money into a game that you know is not going to have a player base. You want to put
Yeah.
money into
Exactly.
a game that is going to thrive and succeed. So, like, for instance,
Mhm.
I used this example already, but PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Everybody knew that game was popping off. They all bought it because
Yeah.
player base was going to be there. Call of Duty always has a player base. Everybody always drops money on that game, no matter how garbage it is. I'm a culprit for that. It's garbage. I still buy it, like, because there's a player base.
Mhm.
Concord just like first, it's just I don't think it ever screamed success. It's success
No.
enough for a $40 price tag.
People
Uh-huh.
were down on it from the initial cinematic trailer as like knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And like people are kind of over that vibe at this point because
Mhm.
Marvel's driven it into the ground.
Mhm.
So them coming out now at this point with that kind of same vibe is just like not hitting. And then you add on top of that the $40 price point in a market that all the other games you could choose are free. And then you add on top of that, like, they had an open beta. You could try it, but that wasn't even successful. So you know that nobody's going to be playing this game.
Mhm.
Like, the open beta peaked at like 2,000 players on Steam.
Oh
Man.
boy,
And it was
Yeah.
free at that point because it was open.
Boy.
I feel like it also wasn't marketed well at all. I feel like I didn't see almost anything about it.
Yeah, not really.
I didn't know it came out fully until it wasn't out anymore.
It peaked around 700 players on Steam when it actually released. That
This
was
is
it.
$40.
That is rough.
The really funny number everybody kept on quoting was that the Gollum game from last year peaked at a higher number than Concord.
Oh,
Oof.
that's upsetting.
I mean, they made like $28,000.
Man.
Enough to pay like half of somebody's low salary.
Also, I played the beta, and the other thing is, like, I didn't think it was that fun. So, on top of everything else, even if you do get to experience it, I have seen people be in message boards be like, "Oh, I thought the game was fun," blah blah blah. So there are some people that enjoyed it, but man, I am like the ideal person that you're trying to sell this game
Target
to.
demographic right
I'm the
here.
target demographic. I'm still playing hero shooters. I like Bungie's stuff, and this was supposed to feel a lot like that.
Yeah, there was that slow Warlock feel, you know?
It was not fun. I did not like it. So to
Bro,
miss even for me is kind of crazy.
I think the funniest story that's come from the Concord closing is people trying to platinum it before it closed down.
So funny.
And so people just started jumping off the maps. Like everybody in the lobby was just jumping off the map.
Like there was a bunch of achievements that you had to hit like certain XP values on characters, and the fastest way to farm XP was to repeatedly kill yourself in matches to end the match.
Yeah.
So that's what the game devolved into in the final days, was everybody killing themselves as soon as they loaded in.
What a
Those poor
legacy.
2 people that actually loved it didn't even get to play the game the last week.
It's Twilight Hours. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, I feel
think I
bad
always-
for Concord, honestly. I don't know what it is. Just
The
it's
thing
my
I always-
sympathy.
think about is like, if you're a Concord developer and you put all this time into developing this game and you're
Mhm.
releasing it for a $40 price tag and your player count only hit 700, and then you hear about this Deadlock game and you're just like, so you're, hold on, so it's a closed alpha and it has
Mhm.
like over 100,000 players? What's
Dude.
happening over there?
It had more players, I think, when Valve didn't acknowledge it
Right?
existed.
yeah,
When it was the
absolutely.
quote-unquote secret,
Mhm.
it had more players than Concord. Like,
What is that meeting like? Hey guys, so our game's not succeeding, but there is this game called Deadlock. So what did we do wrong?
Man,
Man.
They probably just started playing in the office after they realized how
I bet they did.
poorly
They're just like,
Concord
we're
done.
probably gonna lose
we'll
our
just play
jobs.
Deadlock.
Yeah, whatever.
Deadlock 24-hour peak at 125k on Deadlock right now.
Jeez.
Oh, so good.
171k all time.
It's a fun game.
There's been no marketing for this, by the way.
No, because
None.
it's not. It's a secret. No one's supposed to know about it. Oh
It
my
is.
God.
It is the most played so early game that I've ever seen. Like just missing art and animations and like sounds. And there's just 100,000 people just like, yeah, give me
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
I keep seeing streamers. You can like use console commands or something to play unreleased heroes on
Yeah.
private servers. And I'm like,
That's
guys,
funny.
calm down.
Just like wait a
Jesus.
second.
It's been like
We'll
a
get-
month.
We'll get to Deadlock in a minute though. Do we want to talk about the Veilguard for a second?
Oh, the
Veilguard.
transition
I
so
forgot
good.
the
We were in
Veilguard.
it.
I know we did, but we wanted to hit
You want to
Veilguard
just roll it back, roll it
previews.
back. Let's talk about something completely different first.
We had preview footage for Veilguard come out. We have some
Mhm.
more info on how that game actually plays.
Yeah, a lot of people. I guess they like invited a bunch of content creators out to actually play it. Because today I saw like 100 videos. I played the first 7 hours.
Yeah.
And they all have like the same title. It's very bizarre. YouTube, do better. Make a different title. I don't know.
What if that was in their contract though?
It could. I mean, it could have been. I
It's
guess.
the-
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
It's the fate of trying to play slave to the algorithm. You have to do
Yeah.
the title that works.
But it just
And
seems
everybody
like
ends up with
everyone,
the same title.
if everyone has the same title, though, I would think having a different title would make you stand out more.
You'd
You
think.
got like a surprised face with a red arrow in your thumbnail.
Because literally, I just Google Veilguard, see 100 videos with the same name, and click on like 3 random ones. I'm like, these are the takes I'll listen
Yeah.
to. I don't know. But reactions, from what I have seen, again, obviously I use an imperfect system to select my news.
Yeah.
But it seemed like overall reactions were pretty positive. I heard a lot of people saying that, like, they kind of went in with tempered expectations. They weren't really sure what to say, what to expect, and a lot of people really liked the combat specifically, which I think is a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
There was that one video that the guy said that it was likened to God of War, which is such a wild statement to hear from a Dragon's Age.
Yeah.
It does. I get it though. Like watching, especially the warrior gameplay with the sword and shield, it looks very God of War. Like,
Right.
some of the animations look straight ripped from God of War.
If you told me that the Dragon Age Origins was going to evolve into something that was God of War like back when I played Dragon Age Origins, I would have
Mhm.
called you insane.
And
Yeah.
back when you played God of War. The
I was
old
saying,
God of
especially
War.
based on old God of War back then.
Yeah.
hmm
I think it's so funny that they finally transitioned. Like, okay, we got to embrace full action. Nobody buys like third-person tactical games. No one's gonna buy another one. And then Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and everyone wants to play
Yeah.
top-down tactical games. It's like, God fucking damn it! We spent all this time.
Really, really missed the mark there.
Yeah.
Although, so in the Skill Up video, Austin made a point about Baldur's Gate 3, which I hadn't really thought about, but he said it was kind of lucky that they ended up not going that direction, because inevitably it would have not been as good as Baldur's Gate 3, probably.
Well, that's probably true.
And the comparison would have just been like immediate, been like, oh, well, it's not as good as Baldur's Gate 3, so it must suck.
Here's the problem, I think, though. It's still fantasy, so people are still going to make that comparison. And now the gameplay is
It's
inviting
so
comparison to God of
different, though.
War.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's
Which, like, it's
being
probably
compared to God
also
of War, but
not going to win that fight.
Hmm.
I
you
don't
know,
know.
when I was watching the gameplay, it actually reminded me a lot more of like melee version of Mass Effect 3 combat.
Yes,
This is what it looked like to me.
it feels very Mass Effect. Just watching it. I was watching the Skill video. Is a really good one. But I had to laugh when he's talking about like, oh yeah, they have this idea of like primers and detonators.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
like I almost called it Concord.
Yeah,
Anthem.
just like
And I was like,
Anthem.
motherfucker, they did it in Mass Effect first. What are you talking
Yeah.
about, Anthem?
It's kind
Also,
of
what do you mean
unfortunate that
Anthem? Nobody played Anthem.
He did, apparently.
yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that they gave this preview to Austin, because he was talking about like, yeah, I never really played any BioWare games except for Anthem. And I'm the guy that
Gosh.
gets to evaluate this new Dragon Age.
Yeah, it was just like, I mean, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Does, man, I don't even know, does Mr. Skillup play those kind of games?
I don't know.
I have no
Skillup.
idea. I'm sure I'd know his name if you said it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't think of it now because you ruined it.
It's Mr. Skillup from now on.
Before watching that video, I didn't really have much interest in Veilguard. After watching it, I'm like, well, he's pretty good, actually. Not bad.
I don't want to
could
get
play
my
that.
hopes up. I feel my hopes getting up, and I know I'm gonna get disappointed. Like, God, I'm excited for it.
His name is Ralph.
No, I don't know that name.
That's a bad name.
Wow.
Wow, you heard it here first. Change your
Mr.
name,
Skillup.
Mr.
Skillup's
Skillup. Change your
better.
name.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm tentatively excited. I think this is the first time I'm like motivated to play a warrior in a Dragon Age game. So that's cool as well.
It looks pretty cool. Although
does-
the
it
mage
looks like
looks
it'll be
pretty
fun.
cool too.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
He said like he was like, yeah, like all the classes are fun, so you'll probably play through it multiple times. And I'm like, no, I won't. I'll choose one. I'll play through it once. That's it.
It sounds like it's gonna be a very
Well, would
long
it-
game.
Would it not be like you can play multiple of the characters you're using? So like if you choose
No.
warrior, you can still. Oh, you can't.
You can't switch in this game.
What the
It's
heck?
it's like Mass Effect. The Mass Effect comparisons continue.
Listen,
Mm.
Rather than switching,
Imagine-
you basically can pause and say, "Okay, Steve, use your sword move," and then
Yeah.
he'll go do a sword move.
so like imagine this game is not Dragon Age. So you
Wow.
have no
So now I'm gonna have the same argument I had about Resident Evil, where why did they title it Dragon Age? This isn't Dragon Age.
I mean, it's the
like,
same
none of
story.
None of the
True.
things from the gameplay of the previous games are here.
I guess at least the story is
Yeah.
continuing. That does make sense. That's my one gripe about Resident Evil. It's like it doesn't
Sure.
continue from anything. It's just, what is this?
One thing that does kind of, this is like because I'm a fan of Dragon Age, it bothers me. They have all these specializations, right? And every Dragon Age game, there's a warrior specialization called Reaver, where basically, like, you get your health low, but you do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's the
I
best.
don't have it anymore. It's gone. There's one called Reaper, which might be similar. I don't
That's
know.
close.
But it's not called the same thing. And from what they've shown, it's not the same thing. It does like lifesteal stuff, so maybe it has the same energy. But I'm like, why not? Just call it Reaver if it's the Reaver one. I don't know.
But if it doesn't
Find
play
it so
exactly like
strange.
previous Reavers, people would be upset.
I'm
Yeah.
already upset. Put
Yeah.
Reaver in. Reaver was always so cool.
Yeah, it was the best class.
Ugh. It's okay.
I was liking how much Mass Effect I was seeing in it
Yeah.
as a big
Man,
Mass Effect fan.
I love Mass. I love most BioWare games. I can't say all anymore because of recent mistakes they've made, but
Huge Mass Effect fan.
Is there
Yep.
a blood mage? I don't know if they showed all the
There's
archetype
not.
for mages. Do you think there
so-
will be later in the campaign?
No, I think they
an
even
option for it?
specifically said that it is. They basically didn't want the story they're writing. They don't want your character to be kind of evil.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Let me think. I can probably just. We know what all the subclasses are.
Okay, we do.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that would be something that got, halfway through the campaign, you had the option
I mean,
to
Unlocked.
That's
it.
still possible. Like, they said no, but that could just be a misdirect.
Hidden in there.
So what? There's Mage, Rogue, Warrior for the three
Yep.
classes that you can play, and then the subclasses is Death Color, Spellblade, Evoker, for Mage.
Yep.
Rogue
Yeah,
is
that's-
Duelist, Saboteur, Veil Ranger.
Great name.
Veil Ranger.
All good subclasses require 2 names. That's what I said.
Well, I was reading all the highlighted words, and the highlighted word right below Veil Ranger was Jumpers, and I was just like
Jumpers.
Jumpers. But that's
there's
the
a
faction
called-
Veil Jumpers. Yeah.
which is another banger name. 10 out of 10.
Veil
Veil
Jumpers.
Jumpers.
Warriors, Champion, Reaper, and Slayer. So it looks like 3 each.
Mhm.
So cool.
That's fairly common, I think, for Dragon Age.
What was it called before they changed it to the Veil Guard?
Dreadwolf.
Dreadwolf, which is so
Man,
cool.
what a good name.
What a good fucking name. You know what's a terrible name? The Veil Guard.
Yeah.
Absolute dog shit.
Terrible.
Like, it would even be so much better if they just dropped the
yeah.
out of the name.
Mm-hmm. Dragon Age Veil Guard. But Dragon Age Dreadwolf? Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a good
So
name.
much better.
Take me now. That's so good.
It has too much evil connotation to it, though.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't want to focus so much on the
I'm
villain.
focused on the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah, the Veil, whatever.
It's so
Awful.
funny that you're
Name
making
them
fun of this,
something
but you're so
better.
excited for the game to come out.
I know. It's, you see the tension in me.
Oh man.
So much of it is stupid, but it looks so good, and I love Dragon Age. Ugh. I just want it to be good, guys. I just really want it to be good.
The other
We're
thing
crossing our
people
fingers for you.
complain about is like the art style, and I actually don't have a problem with it. I think
like
it's
it.
good.
Yeah.
Can I say, I don't know if this is going to be controversial. Dragon Age has always looked like dog shit.
Yeah,
I don't think
a little
a
bit.
single Dragon Age game has come out and been like, oh wow, that looks good. Like,
People
1
are
and 2
upset
terrible.
because like it's not gritty and dark anymore. It's like more stylized
It's a little
and
more
I guess
stylized.
like cartoony.
Inquisition wasn't gritty and
I
dark.
was about to say, Inquisition, in addition to looking like dog shit,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
cartoony.
I was gonna say, do you want to know why it looks dark and gritty? It's because they couldn't figure out how to make it look good with it being artistic and colorful.
Yeah, they couldn't
I
pay
mean,
for light
yeah.
effects back then.
It's just a cop out to make something look good, dark, gritty, and it's just like, we don't have to have graphic fidelity. It's just
Yeah.
a
it's
blob
fine.
on the screen. Gears of War. I mean, it's all grays. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I agree. I think the Veilguard visually is pretty impressive.
The environments especially like
Yes. I think they look gorgeous.
very, very cool.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe when it comes out, it'll be a different story. But all the gameplay things I've watched, no, I've never been like, oh, that doesn't look good. And the environments are always have been stunning so far, I should say.
Yeah. The last piece of the puzzle is hopefully it performs well when it releases.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see about that as well.
I am potentially an outlier, but I do believe the UI kind of looks mobile-esque. It doesn't look the best.
Yeah.
It looks really beveled and like just blocky.
I can
and-
see that, yeah.
But like I said, if that's the only issue that I have with that game and the story is good and the gameplay is good, whatever. Like,
Yeah, right. If that's your biggest problem. It's a pretty good sign. I almost forgot the most important thing. Your scout from Inquisition, Harding, is a full companion, and you can romance her. And she was the best character in Inquisition.
Nice.
I was wondering if I had to go back through and play Inquisition, but apparently there's going to be like a huge recap that happens like in the beginning.
Mhm.
So like people who haven't played Inquisition or any other Dragon Ages,
It's
I'll
been
just
so long.
be able to watch that.
They pretty much have to be able to take
Yeah.
new players that have never played.
Yeah, they seem very
Especially-
concerned about the new player experience from everything
Yeah.
I've heard.
I mean, it differs
You
a
don't
lot from
say.
previous games, so it's likely
Yes.
you're going to get a lot of new people.
There's,
that haven't been part of it before.
They mentioned a recap and then also something they weren't allowed to talk about yet. That is
yeah.
something that will help onboard people.
Feels like it might be I don't know why, but I have a feeling it's going to be like a Final Fantasy pause cover stuff thing.
I feel like it's
Oh.
going to be like
Oh.
a make decisions on what you did in previous games.
Oh.
I don't know if they were supposed to do this, but I did listen to one content creator talk about that a little bit. It's like, if anyone remembers from Inquisition, there was like the Dragon Age Keep. It was like a website you went to, and you basically made all of your choices for Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2.
Yeah. They had the same thing for Mass Effect.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
So there is something like that. Like I said, I feel like this person maybe wasn't supposed to talk about it, but they did.
Huh. Okay.
Because everyone else was like, oh, there's this other thing we're not supposed to talk about, and they didn't mention it at all. And then this person was like, oh yeah, there's this thing. I was like, you might get in trouble for saying that. I don't know.
Interesting.
Does that in turn mean that we're gonna get in trouble for saying that?
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Wait.
Look what you did, Jake.
No, we're
Oh,
getting
no.
canceled. Not all our viewers.
No.
We didn't sign anything.
We don't have an agreement with
That's
them,
true,
so
that's
it's
true.
fine.
All right, we're out. We're out of.
I heard a
We're
rumor.
basically-
I heard a rumor.
Yeah, we're
You guys
basically
don't
reporting
understand.
rumors.
Now they're not going to pick us to do first review of their next
Yeah.
game.
True.
Damn
Man.
it.
Dang.
I wonder how many studios would send us keys if I just started emailing every studio about how we have a podcast that reviews video games and we would like to review their game.
I mean,
Yeah,
We just
I've never,
never-
I've never
It's one.
tried it.
We just
Yeah.
never ask, so
Yeah.
like, who knows?
Well, there you go. There, you know, that's your job, Alex. Go for it.
get us some Red Wolf keys.
All right. So after backtracking to Veilguard real quick, we were talking about Deadlock.
Let's go
This-
back.
You're just gonna cut it and
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Put
fix
those
it
two
in
segments
post.
together.
all right.
I'll
Yep.
fix it in
Good,
post.
good,
Yeah.
Sure.
Deadlock, and a game that is officially recognized by Valve at this point and has a Steam page.
Wow, does it?
Yep.
Is it still closed alpha?
It's
though?
minimal. It's minimal. But
Yeah,
it has a
it's-
I think it
Steam
says
page.
experimental somewhere.
Okay.
It's still closed alpha. You still have to have an invite from somebody that's already in it to be able to get in it. But that is pretty easy to come by at this point with how many people are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
And it
I
looks
mean,
like you. Go ahead.
I went through and just invited pretty much my whole friends list at one point.
Yeah. Might
Just
as well,
like,
right?
this person might like it. This person might.
When you first got in, could you only invite one person? I feel like it was only one.
It was a
Originally,
different
or
UI
two.
completely. It was
Okay.
email only.
Mm.
And then
Oh.
they implemented a Steam invite. You can invite your
okay.
Steam friends.
Yeah, I didn't know you could Steam invite now.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So like I got in because a friend was like, "Hey, you want to try this game?" And I told Alex about it. He was like, "What the heck, man?" And then I sent Alex, Caleb, and Aaron an invite, and like none of us played except for Alex for like what, a month or two. Like,
A couple months. When
yeah.
I was playing it originally, the peak player counts were hitting like 4,000 at that point. And then when we actually all played it together, it was hitting like 70, 80, 90,000.
Yeah.
It is funny. The queue still says 12 plus players.
12 plus players
And
in
they're not
queue.
wrong.
Yeah,
very funny.
I mean, yeah, it is true. Man, I'll tell you what though. When we started playing this game, I was like, I am not gonna like this game. I'm not. This ain't it. This ain't it. And then turns out it is it. I like this game a lot.
The first game we played, I was like, "This is too much Dota. I'm not playing this again." And then I played it again, and that was not too bad. It's
We
pretty fun.
forced you to play it again. You
pretty
were
much,
not.
pretty much
playing
forced me.
it again.
Yeah.
And now look at you.
We were like setting up a time to play, and then Caleb tried to like undermine it and play a different game. And Jake was like, I really want to try Deadlock at least once. And Caleb was like,
Yeah.
fine.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And you get
I
sucked
think-
into another Dota-like game. Gosh.
I think there's a lot of complexity to it, but it's just so user friendly as well. And maybe that's just me talking with like the 2,000 plus hours that I have in Dota, so I know MOBAs. But I feel like it's not really as complex as Dota
It's not
when it
yeah.
comes to like, you don't have to like item build as much. It's just pretty much like buy order, and like you can hover over something and it'll show you exactly what the buy order is going to be. There's builds implemented into the game, like right there in the shop,
nice.
Which is like amazing. You don't have to pay for Dota Plus to get that.
A lot of lessons learned from Dota that they're just implementing from the start.
That said, I feel like the complexity is going to get a lot higher when they start adding on to those features. So they're going to have a bunch more items than they do now, right? There's no way they're going to keep it this minimal.
Well, there's already items that like I didn't realize was in there. Like blade mail is essentially in Deadlock now. And I'm like, man, that would be so good for like if there's a haze or a wraith on you, like you pop the blade mail and like they can't kill you. It's there's just a bunch of stuff like that where it's like there's so much complexity there that people are missing. Like even the pros that are like building, like theory crafting and building, like they're missing some of those items that like could be super useful. But yeah, it's a pretty simple game at its core. And then once you start looking into like items and like the actual mechanics of like slide jumping, and at first you're just like, let me shoot the enemies, and that's it. That's pretty good. And then you just start, there's a parry system. Like, whoa, there's melees.
Wait, you can parry in this game?
Wild stuff. It's hero shooter based, so it's cool. It's third person.
It's some of the way they balance things is pretty cool. Like in a lane in Dota, if you had a ranged character, you only have a specific range, and so you know where you're safe and where you're not. In this game, you have a gun that can shoot forever, so it's like you're kind of most characters do it. Like, and so like you are always at a little bit of a threat, but also there's a ton of cover, which is different, and then there's really aggressive damage fall off on the weapons, which is an interesting way to balance it. So you have to actually be in like your like useful range increment to actually be dealing significant damage to people. That's pretty cool. The other thing is like the way they balance last hits and denies. So like the last hitting of the creep is not fought over anymore. You can always last hit it, but then it pops out an orb that gives you the other half of the souls, which is the currency. And you do fight over that part. So it's like last hits and denies in Dota, except for it's shifted to you can only fight over half of the value of the creep instead of like the whole value.
For the first 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, it's all in the soul. In the orb, rather.
True. And that's interesting how they can like just shift things like that.
And I think that whole system, I think, is a big part of why I enjoy this game. I really do not like last hitting in League. Yeah, whereas in this, it's actually like... honestly, I think just putting actual mechanics in League... in a MOBA, I suppose I should say. League is just the only one I ever really played.
Sure.
Just makes it so much more appealing to me. League never really clicked for me. Like, I played a lot of League. I wanted to like League, but I just never did. And this just makes it so much more fun.
There's a lot of mechanics that just make it easier, too. Like, when the creep gets really low health, it has like a sheen around it that you're going to last hit it as soon as you shoot at it.
And you can just melee them if you don't want to mess with the orb. If you just want to be like, no, I got this one, you can just punch it.
Yeah,
great.
Which is like a trade-off where you might take harass because you're getting up close, but you can secure your souls easily.
That way. Yeah. Just last hitting itself becomes the dopamine hit of just like they know people like aim trainers and like seeing their scores go up, and it's like that. It's like a mini game of that every game in lane. It's literally just orbs popping out, and you gotta shoot them quickly.
It's also who's the better aim trainer, because you can deny their creeps, and so just like see their red orb pop out of your ally creep, and then you pop it. That's pretty cool.
I also really like, as far as I'm aware, someone correct me if I'm wrong here, when you're in lane with your duo partner, souls are just shared.
Yeah.
You just both get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
No dumb support carry combo.
Oh, you stole my big minion.
Yeah.
Now I'm angry. It's like, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to yell at your support for last hitting a creep.
It's like just, you're on the same team, guys. Just shoot them. It's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah, it's
very
almost
nice.
opposite of other MOBAs where you want your creep line to be more towards your tower. In this, it's like you just want to hard push because you want to do as much damage as you can to the tower. So you're still getting the creep score, you're keeping up, but if you're pushed more towards their side, you can get the free hits on the tower. And you pretty much take towers super freaking early, which is super wild to me because it takes a while to get towers in other MOBAs.
Hmm.
This one is just like 2 minutes into the game. All right, cool bet. Exaggeration, but you know.
The other thing I think is really cool is this is not the first MOBA that's a shooter or shooter that's a MOBA, but it's the first one that I feel like feels a lot more like a shooter. Like there's like Paragon and there's like Smite and stuff like that, but they feel very like stiff, yeah, like slow, stiff, not a ton of movement, not a ton of aim mechanics. And this game is like your movement is wild, the verticality is crazy. Like the whole stamina system where you can do dash jumps and double jumps and slides and all that stuff. You get so much movement for free on every single character. It's not like this character is the movement character and has all the dashes and stuff. Like,
although there is a character who's the movement character, and he's just super duper ridiculous.
That Lash.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There are definitely characters that have more movement, yes.
Yeah.
I did not expect the movement to go this hard. That was probably one of the biggest surprises for me, because I was expecting it to be just like, okay, I go down and I stand perfectly still while I shoot.
Yeah.
But you're constantly dashing and sliding and running around. It's crazy.
Which
And
I had
even
a cover.
characters-
Go ahead.
Even characters that don't have a lot of stamina, you can just buy items that buff your
Right.
stamina
Yeah.
so that you can
Yep.
do it as much as you want, really.
I had a conversation with Alex, and I was talking about how like they added like wall jumping, and I was like, oh, they're probably gonna remove that because people are gonna cry that like movement's too much in this game, and like they can't aim train you, and like the tracking's too hard, and but then I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, a lot of these abilities are just like damage abilities that just hit. Like it's not like you need to have aim. Like aiming is just a benefit on top of using your skills. And so it's not like I always bring this game up, a hyperscape where like you can just use the movement to get away every single time, because there's like Wraith's ultimate that traps them. There's another ability that shoots out ice around you, which, you know, slows them. There's bullets that slow. There's all sorts of items and stuff that like even when you're slow, as long as you have a dash, it doesn't feel too bad. So it's like there's that weird excellent balance between like the mobility is still there even when you're being hindered, but as long as you're maintaining your stamina correctly. Because a lot of games that have like the lockdowns and the but it's also a movement shooter, anytime the lockdowns happen, it just feels really, really bad. Cough, Kelvin, cough. But you know, they're working towards that. They're working on it. I haven't had Kelvin issues in a while after they've nerfed, which is kind of wild because they didn't really nerf too hard, but it still hasn't made a lot of Kelvins be aggressive anymore. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, and the other thing I mentioned, the verticality is crazy. The map is huge, and it's got a bunch of really tall buildings that you can get on top of and just have vantage points. And then the other innovation is like the sky rail system. Because the map's so big, you can just like monorail back to base on these little zip lines to and from lane, which is like really, really nice to be able to get around the map to different key areas.
The teleporters are also insanely useful if you use them correctly. It's like if you're trying to go from the far left lane to the far right lane, because you see a team fight happening, but you're pushing a wave. You push a wave up, go through the teleport, and you meet the team fight. Like that's not something that would happen in like Dota or League.
I didn't pay attention to those because I don't think I've used one yet.
Yeah,
they're real nice.
I've already got too much on my plate. I'm already struggling to keep up. But
they don't open until 10 minutes in, so you know.
I've used the ones on the very outside lanes. I still haven't used the ones that are inside in the interior of the map, and I don't know where they go.
You know what? I almost used one once. I was trying to get away from a guy. I went into a teleport to get away, and he came in and punched me.
Yeah.
So
They
I'm
do
never
show
using him
you
again.
where they go and you step into them, but I haven't tested the middle ones to see where they go.
The other cool mechanics, you just mentioned punching. You in a shooter usually you have a melee button, and that's neat. You can melee people. In this game, for some reason, you can do light and heavy melees and parries, because we just need to add more complexity to things.
There's a parry in this game?
It's crazy. So like there are specific characters that you basically build items around melee, and like you can just punch people down.
I
Yeah,
think
that-
Really, the one character.
I think what's really cool about this game is like you don't have to read your skills in order to get really into it.
Yeah. Yamato is basically a melee character also.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, she builds some melee stuff. Also, there's one that's in development that sounds like it's going to be even worse than Abrams.
No.
Oh no.
Now I'm excited.
Yeah, it's an unreleased character. Her ultimate is she goes invisible, permanent
Wow.
invisible while the ultimate's up, and she can heavy punch twice as fast while she's in it.
Great.
Oh.
An
I feel
invisible
like that
heavy
means she's
puncher.
just gonna get parried a lot while invisible.
Maybe.
Probably. But that probably means you pop ult, wait for them to parry.
Yep.
Because
Try to bait it.
because the thing you can do is if you parry your punch and then you just whip your mouse away, you'll punch wherever your mouse points.
Yeah.
So you can just charge it up, let them parry, intentionally miss, and then their parry's on cooldown.
It is so
That's true.
satisfying when you charge up a punch, see them parry, and you do that to them. It's like sitting there dumb on the next punch that you're doing.
Man, a thing I have to try to do now. I saw a clip today where somebody's clearly going to melee this creep in lane, and they're pretty far away, and the person like dash jumped into the creep and parried,
That's great.
and then just murders the guy because it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
he wasn't expecting there to like be a player there. He's just trying to kill
Yeah.
a creep.
Yeah,
That's
sure,
good.
sure. He's
That's
like,
good.
oh, this is really safe.
You can also use a warp stone and parry.
Mm.
That sounds like a fun way to harass Abrams in lane now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
could just leave it as harass Abrams.
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. What are your guys' opinions on the fact that there's no jungle like role? Everyone's just
Yeah.
in a lane.
There's no jungle role in Dota.
yeah.
Really?
Anymore. I mean, there used to be.
There used to be like an option for it, and they kind of phased it out. They made it harder and harder to be a dedicated jungler for long enough that it doesn't
game.
exist anymore.
That's
Interesting.
crazy. Yeah, League's kind of all about the jungler. I read.
Yeah, League
Yeah,
is
requires a
it's an
jungler.
essential
100%.
Yeah.
You need a jungler in League. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Which always, I don't like having a jungler. I feel like it
I
adds
don't
too much
either.
complexity.
Yeah, I agree. And it makes it so a lot of times your laning phase is completely dependent on this other guy who maybe you don't
Yep. Yep.
know. And who maybe is
Yeah.
not good at League of Legends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't
Sorry.
call me out like that, Jake.
Definitely is not good at League of Legends.
See
Dota-
earlier statement. Don't call me out like that, Jake.
Dota over the years has kind of ended up in the state that Deadlock is, where there's just 2v2s and 1v1s.
Man, so
It
this
used-
is just a Dota knockoff, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it used to be a lot more flexible. You used to have tri-lanes, you used to have jungler, you used to have like a dedicated roamer from the beginning sometimes.
Interesting.
But now it's pretty much always 2-on-2 now.
I might like it
So-
better now. Wow.
Yeah, I'm fine with a
But
jungle.
that's
Especially because
what-
you can catch up with the jungle later.
yeah, I was going to say I really like it, but I thought you guys might have stronger opinions, because I
Yeah.
assumed Dota had a jungler.
Yeah, you can't even try to do it in this game because the small camps don't spawn until 2 minutes, and then the rest of the camps don't spawn until 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to start off just jungling, you can't do it.
Yeah. I also think the idea of unsecured souls, that the jungle camp gives you souls that you drop when you die, so someone can
Yep.
steal them.
Man,
It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it really adds a whole lot, but
I
I'm
like
intrigued
it.
by it at least.
The concept
I-
of that was really wild to me in the beginning because like I was trying to figure out like unsecured souls, like are those counting down and transferring over to the large portion, and does that large portion increase as it's happening? And then it's not all that's happening. It's say you have 1,000 souls and you have 200 in your unsecured. That 200 is counting down, but it's always staying at 1,000 of your actual souls. So
Mhm.
you can basically go farm the jungle And if you're worried about losing the unsecured, just keep farming the jungle until you get to that price point where you're about to spend. Go spend it, and your unsecured are gone.
It's safe. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. If you spend them,
Does it
it's
spend those
safe.
first?
No.
No. Okay.
It spends them last.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
okay.
want to grab something that's like all of the souls, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know, spend all your money.
I will say that it is an interesting enough thought experiment. There's been many times where I have been farming jungle and I have a lot of unsecured, and then there's a fight that happens near me, and I'm like, usually I would just go join the fight, but I really don't want to die with like 1,000 unsecured.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
a pretty
it
big swing.
actually makes me second guess what fights to join. So I think it adds in that respect. So
That's fair. Yeah, that's a cool game.
I really
know.
enjoy how you can jump onto the rail and like right when you spawn in, and you can go fast to lane.
Mhm.
Like that button, use that right out the gate every
Yeah,
time. Like
absolutely.
it's,
Yeah, you want to beat your opponent to lane by
Mhm.
about half a second. That's
Yeah.
gonna be huge.
once you beat them there, what can they do? Nothing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
over. They already lost lane. They don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
I will say, I think a shiv or whoever has like a projectile that they can throw has done that to me once,
Mhm.
and I've lost almost half my health because they got there first and threw something at me while I was on the rail.
It's
I'm
a
like,
good
all right, this is viable. Okay.
plan.
But you can also do that just jumping off the rail clearly, which you did in a match the other day.
Yeah.
Just landed a shiv at the start of the match, hopping off the rail.
Hmm.
Ridiculous.
Good game.
good game.
I'm excited for it to keep growing. I'm to
Yep.
add more characters and add more items and add some, finish up some of the art.
Yeah.
You should have seen
I-
Chad's screen the other night.
Polish
Oh,
up some
really?
things.
Some particle effect didn't load in, so he had just red X's all over his screen.
Oh, hilarious.
Every time Infernus did something, I don't know what it was, but it was just a ball of red X's that would explode out. I'm like, cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, the art direction is not amazing right now, but it's obviously still really early, so I don't want to be too harsh on that, especially, like mechanics and stuff, I feel fine criticizing, but it's kind of bland art-wise, and I'm like, hopefully that's incoming,
It feels very much in the TF2 region for art, I feel like. Currently.
I feel like if they like texturize the characters and stuff like that, because like for instance, Haze is a big one where it's just like you can tell that's just like a shell. That's not
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
what
yeah,
she's
yeah.
supposed to look like.
Right.
But like I kind of enjoy the art direction if they stick with this like Lovecraftian kind of mobster look. It looks kind of interesting compared to like it's vastly different from like Overwatch. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it
that's
has
true.
a unique kind of character to it.
Let's move on to some other stuff that we've been playing, and also I'm now realizing that we've been in a section of the podcast for a while
Oh no!
Aaron
What did
without
he say?
announcing it.
For 1 month.
Cool.
We've been a
Oh,
little
this
so
is a good
long.
podcast.
Whoever said what WHYBPL is?
I'm
They'll
sure.
know. The real fans know.
Does Aaron announce it? Like he says WHYBPL, and then does he actually say like what it
No.
is every week?
No,
or-
he does
Every
not.
once in a while he says it.
Okay.
Chad, what have you been playing lately?
Well, obviously
Seems good.
Deadlock.
Oh,
So
interesting.
we don't need to talk about that. And we've already talked about Destiny 2, so those are pretty much the only two games I've been playing. So we can
Sweet,
move
moving
on.
Fair enough.
Great. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Deadlock, but besides that, I've been getting my Warhammer 40k on.
Seriously.
Hell
How
yeah.
is that?
Depends on which one you're
So
talking about.
I played
Yeah.
Space Marine 2 was coming out, and I was kind of excited for that. The previews looked good, so I had never played the first game, so I went back and played Space Marine 1.
Mm-hmm.
That
How'd it
game is not very good, I don't think.
Get 'em.
I
Go off.
It is at best frustrating.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Next.
I don't know. It's very much an of the era, like around when Gears of War was coming out and stuff like that. That type of game, like wade through monsters, chainsaw dudes in half. Not to say the second one is not that, but
Is it a cover shooter?
it does not have a cover system, but it feels like it wants to have one with how much range stuff it throws at you.
Weird.
The beginning of the game feels, I'm like, all right, this game is kind of cool. Feels nice. It's like a mix between melee and ranged combat. It's got like Doom style finishers when you like get enemies low or stun them that will give you health back. And then as the difficulty ramps up, as you get farther into the game, you realize like, oh, like the only way to get my health back is to do these finishers. The finishers do not give you any invulnerability. You have like 40 dudes on you, and you're like at 3 health, and you're like, man, I really want to do this finisher, but is it going to be the random chance that I get the fast animation and I'll be safe?
Oh, God.
Or am I going to get the animation that takes an hour and everybody wails on me the entire time and I just die?
How are games... I mean, I guess it's an older game, but like, come on, guys. If it's a pre-canned animation, you gotta give me invulnerability.
It was so frustrating every time it would give me a really long animation, and I would just die because of it.
That's unreal.
And there's so, like, towards the end of the game, they start throwing so much bullcrap at you. All these ranged characters, they make you feel like you're a god among men, that you should just be wading into combat, like slicing dudes down, using your super, like you get like a super buff that you charge up and can activate every so often, and it makes you tougher and it makes you regain health as you hit people and stuff like this, so you feel like you should be invulnerable during it. But nah, man, they still just like chunk you down through it with like just missile barrages and snipers. And I'm like, all right, so now I'm playing it like it should be a cover shooter, where I'm hiding around this corner, poking out a little bit here and there and trying to take out the ranged guys before I wade in and fight like the big dude.
So annoying.
Yeah, so it ended up getting very annoying towards the end of the game. And the story is like not worth me playing through it to experience it, I don't think.
God damn.
It was fine. And it turns out we played a lot of the second game. We haven't quite finished it. We're in the last mission. Me, Caleb, and Frank have been playing that one. But it turns out the story is so similar to the second game. I could have just played the second game and been satisfied with the story, I guess.
I'm glad you played the first game so you could tell me the story.
It's so funny. Like the first game is, there's a planet that's like being overrun, in this case by orcs. And so you drop in to help with the Ultramarine platoon, and you find out there's like an important guy that has some object that you need to help extract. So you go rescue him and get the object, and then it turns out like that dude has actually been dead the whole time and has been a resurrected puppet of a chaos wizard. And they use the device to open a chaos portal to let chaos into the realm.
So is this it's a Final Fantasy game?
Yeah, and then you kill chaos, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so that's like the baseline of the story in that game. And then you go into the second game, and there's a world that's being overrun, but in this case by Tyranids instead of orcs. And then
so it's different.
You track down, there's like a device that you have to find because it's important, so you track it down, and it turns out, oh, it's like the shards of the device from the first game.
Yeah, literally the same MacGuffin.
That's hilarious.
And then they use it to open a portal to allow chaos through. And I'm like, guys.
The plot point's so nice they used it twice. I love it.
I mean, I realize it's been over a decade since the first game, so it's like,
but
whatever, let's just do it again.
It's not like it was a compelling story the first time, you know? Like,
at least this time there's like you play a character who has been accused of heresy, and he's trying to like get his honor back. So there's at least something going on there. Kinda.
Titus is the same character from the first game. The ending of the first game is so funny, especially knowing that no second game comes for more than a decade, because they end it as if they're going to do a sequel so soon. Because like throughout the game, there's been like this chaos stuff happening, and Titus is for whatever reason resistant to chaos energies, which is not normal. And so everybody keeps on blaming him of being like in league with chaos because it's not bothering him.
Oh, wow, they do that a lot in the second game too.
Yeah, and then so at the end of the game, the Inquisition shows up and takes Titus away as a criminal because he is being accused of working with the chaos, even though he just saved everybody. And that's how the game literally ends. You just get carried away.
Ends?
Yeah. And
That's
so the
great.
second game, more than a decade later, starts with unnamed character from Death Watch, like fighting dudes. And then like Inquisition shows up and they're like, we're going to give you a second chance. It's been over 100 years that you've been paying penance for, you know, your crimes. And it turns out it's Titus, and he gets reinstated in the Ultramarines, but at a lower rank than he was in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's just funny, man. It's just funny that was the story that they went with, and it was so long in between. I will say the gameplay in the second game, if we move over to that one, is much improved from the first game. It is quite fun, actually. You get iframes on
Interesting.
yeah, like executions. The systems are a bit different. You have like armor points in that game, and executions give you like a plate of armor back, essentially. And you have to work through armor before you work through health. On the difficulty we've been playing on, I feel like everybody just kind of chills at like 20% HP at all times, and
Pretty
just
much.
like goes up and down on armor a bunch.
Jeez.
There is a mechanic in the game similar to like a Bloodborne, where when you take damage, there's a short period of time where you can deal damage to get that health back.
Hell yeah.
And executions refill all of the health you can get back when you do them,
Okay.
which is cool.
Yeah,
and
I like
gives you that chunk of armor, so it's pretty nice.
There's the execution system, which is cool. They also have, in addition to that, like you can stun monsters, and that gives you it's almost like a ranged riposte, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If you just tap the fire button when like the indicator pops up, you do this like fancy like gun down move that just happens automatically. It's almost like an execution, but for ranged attacks.
And it just does a bunch of damage. It doesn't necessarily execute.
Yeah,
But it's when you parry enemies.
Yeah, parry
or knock them back, actually.
Or if you knock them back, you can sometimes get it to activate. So it's just like more damage that you can output there. There's a bunch of different ranged weapons you can go through, and only a handful of melee weapons, but they've all been pretty diverse. Like especially the later melee weapons, like the power sword and the hammer. Have a lot going on with them. Especially the power sword's pretty cool. You can go between two states on the power sword, charged and uncharged, and that gives you two different like move sets for it. And it's just got hordes and hordes and hordes of Tyranid enemies, so that's like another selling point for it. Yeah, it's the system from World War Z, if anybody has played that game. Where there's just tons of hordes of zombies in that game that can pile up on each other. It's the same thing here. So there's points where there'll be like a horde rushing at you, and you're defending on top of a wall, and they're all like clambering up the wall, and you can throw a grenade into a whole pile, and then just like 50 Tyranids die. It's just cool for that kind of stuff. It's a cool touch.
Good sense of like the scale of destruction you can do it. Ultramarine.
It's a very pretty looking game.
Mm-hmm. There's a second co-op system. We've not played much of it. It's you pick a class in the base campaign. You just all play a series of 3 characters that are like specific for the campaign missions, and they all have a specific ability, but otherwise you can pick up any weapons you want or anything like that. The other co-op mode is like a class-based thing where you pick a class and it comes with specific weapon loadouts that you can choose from, and a specific skill, and eventually perks as you play through it multiple times and unlock upgrades. But we played that we played one of those missions, and I actually really, really enjoyed that a lot more than just the base campaign.
Yeah.
Because the characters felt really unique.
It seems like it's
We
gonna
all
have a lot
had
more
our own.
depth.
Yeah. And those missions run alongside the main campaign. So while you're playing the main campaign, occasionally he'll be like, all right, I need a different squad to go do this mission while we do this one, like alongside it. And those are the missions you play in the other co-op mode, which I think is cool.
It's cool how they integrate that stuff into the
Mhm.
story. Yeah, I'm excited to get to play more of that side of the game and also just finish what is probably the last 30 minutes of the campaign
Yeah.
when we had to stop playing last time.
Yep. Sorry.
But yeah, it's just a really solid experience. I don't. It hits the. It's just fun to just like wade through monsters. Part of my brain
Yeah. Scratches that Vermintide itch.
that the yeah, not a lot of games have hit recently.
You get to kill rats?
Man, funny you say that.
Kinda. God, those
Kinda.
parts
What
are
does
the
that
worst.
mean?
Those parts are the
Oh,
worst.
now I'm excited.
There's
There's
basically
swarms of rat-like creatures called rippers.
yeah,
Huh.
like literal, like rat-sized rats, not human-sized rats.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they suck.
And you have to use like a flamethrower to clear a path while like your co-op partners do other things. It's
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, those parts are not fun.
Are you thinking this will be on either of your GOTY lists?
Not yet.
That's a good question. Yeah.
See how good
I
the
did-
operations mode is, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also PvP, but I doubt I'm gonna put some
I
of
can
that.
guarantee I won't play that, so.
Man, it's gonna be tough to break into the list. We'll see. Maybe,
This year's
A
this
lot
is
of
a
good
good year.
games.
Mm.
especially with other things.
I was being sarcastic.
I've yet to
I don't
play
think
yet.
there are.
Yeah,
Played a lot of good games this year.
I think I have one on my list so far. We'll get to it.
Caleb, what have you been playing?
Well, I picked up Black Myth Wukong.
Is it
Playing
worth the hype?
a bunch of that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's probably not on my game of the year list. Spoiler.
Oh.
Whoa.
I think part of the issue is I haven't read Journey to the West. I don't know much Journey to the West stuff. And this is, I mean, chock full of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I don't really
It's for West
get.
heads only.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's pretty good. It doesn't play like it's not a Souls-like. Doesn't really play Souls-likey. Very much.
Almost likey.
Yeah.
Souls
very,
likey, yeah.
very much more like a God of War-y.
Like new God of
play
War?
style.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of E going on here.
No,
Yeah,
no,
what's
I
going on?
added
God
that
of
one in
War,
just
it's
'cause of
about
the
a
other
dad that's just like really worried about his kid.
So like God of War.
one. Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, yeah.
mhm. Exactly. But it's pretty good. It looks really pretty. It doesn't run exceptionally well. It's a little difficult to run. But it does look really pretty, and the gameplay is pretty solid. I am occasionally frustrated by sometimes hitboxes, sometimes I don't want to say lagginess, but like slow combat animations that can annoy me at times. There's
Like Dark Souls.
mm,
When they like wind up for like an hour and you're like, surely it's coming now. This is where I dodge, right?
you don't have
And they
that
wait like
problem
4
as
more
much.
seconds and then they're like, there you go.
The dodge is very easy to use. It's very easy to use. The parries are quite a bit harder to use. There's one that doesn't work with specific levels of DLSS for some reason. So got that
So
upgrade.
strange.
Never could pull it off until I saw some people complaining about it. Changed my DLSS settings to, I think I changed it to quality, and it worked suddenly. So that was fun.
Interesting. Is that like a lore thing? Is that like in Journey to the West?
Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If your internal resolution is that low, then you can't see this parry.
Mm-hmm.
The regions are really cool. The level design is pretty good for the most part. The first level is kind of small because it's kind of the introductory level. Second region is really, really good. Really like the second region. Third region there are invisible walls everywhere. It drives me insane. Really frustrating. I see a bunch of cool stuff and you try to head towards it and just no luck.
It's not every game can be Elden Ring.
Yeah. Skyrim, I was
True.
gonna say.
It's not very open world, not very even sandbox-y. There's some paths that shoot off, but they always wrap back around to the main kind of path. So it's not too interconnected or anything like that.
Are you finished with it yet?
No. It's a long game, man. It's long. I have 29 hours in it, and I think I still have a full chapter to go. Plus some of the one that I'm still in.
Good to know.
Yeah. Pretty good, though. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Tactical Breach Wizards, which I know Jake's also been playing. Jake probably likes it even a little more than me, so
I probably do.
If you want to talk about it?
I would love to talk about Tactical Breach Wizards. So it is a tactics game a la XCOM, but rather than having a thing where it drops you in the middle of the field and it's like, okay, there are enemies like 5 screens over, slowly walk over, and if you run to an enemy and you're not ready, they'll kill you. Every mission is just like, okay, you're breaching this room, you gotta take out all the guys in this room. The gimmick kind of is that all of your characters are wizards, so they can do cool wizard shit. You get like a time wizard, you get an electricity wizard, and her thing is I guess she does zap people, but her main thing is that she can push enemies around. So like she does a lot of knockback stuff. And this game
That seems like a wind wizard.
Yeah, right. It probably would make more sense. She even gets something called a gale grenade.
I think she's technically called a storm wizard.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you're right. She is called a storm wizard.
Time wizard sounds OP.
I don't love him. He's probably
good,
his
but
favorite. He's fine.
Yeah. He's a very good support character.
Yes. Yes, he has some support abilities that are busted.
Yeah, frankly, yeah.
This game loves defenestrations,
Love
which if you don't
man.
know, literally at the end of every map, it gives you a count of how many defenestrations you did. And if you don't know what that word means, the game helpfully defines it as the act of throwing someone through a window.
Yep. Every
Excellent.
time there's an additional objective that requires you to defenestrate so many people, it defines it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
It's so fun. It is an instant kill. So if a big enemy shows up, if you can position them near a window, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very fun.
It plays very much like Into the Breach. You remember that game?
Yeah.
A lot of moving people around to be in spots so that you can shove them out a window or shove them into a trap on a wall, something like that. Very movement focused.
Yes. One of my favorite things from a gameplay perspective about this game is that every mission comes with like little sub-objectives that you do to like unlock, what is it called? Confidence for your characters. It's basically the currency you use to buy new outfits for your characters. The idea being they already own these clothes, but they need to get the confidence to pull them off.
Wow.
Which I think is hilarious. What a fun explanation for getting costumes for your characters.
Are those
That's
just
good.
cosmetic or?
Yep.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
And it's not like, oh, you got a new shirt. It's like, oh, here's the Storm Witch dressed up like a detective, or in snow gear, or whatever.
The snow gear one's excellent. It's just constantly snowing around her.
Yeah,
Love it.
It's
Wow.
honestly all of the outfits I think are very fun, except for
They're really good.
the tank chick.
Doll.
Doll. Her outfits are not very fun,
Yeah.
but whatever. But all of the side objectives are like, have Jen knock 3 people through a window in 1 round, or like let your tank
Fenestrate 3
character.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, oh, the tank character has to apply 12 knockback before the end of the mission. And it's like, whoa, okay. And for me, like, if it was just knocking everyone in the room out, I feel like it wouldn't be super compelling. But trying to plan all of my turns to get all of those sub-objectives, I think made the game a lot more enjoyable.
Right.
The last... Oh, go ahead.
Is there a narrative?
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
look at that!
Oh, yeah.
Exactly what I was going to say. The writing is sublime. It is really, really funny and really well written.
Funny.
I was shocked at how charming this game is. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. a lot of the missions right before you breach, you just have a conversation with whoever you're breaching with, and they're always great. They're always really good, really funny.
Man. Yes, I laughed out loud multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Anytime Steve is around.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about Steve the Traffic Warlock. There's literally a part where you're about to breach a room with Steve, and your character's just talking about how much they dislike Steve, and so Steve yells from inside the room like, I can hear you, and she's like, oh god damn it.
Good. It's really good.
It's a great game. But this is the one that's definitely going to be. I absolutely adore this game.
Oh,
you
this
haven't
is the
finished
game.
it yet, right?
Mm-hmm. I have finished it.
You have finished it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last time
I haven't
I thought
100% of it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I finished it like the next
You
day
don't
or
have
something.
any other GOTY contenders now, huh?
I have a few that could go on there.
Yeah.
But like none that I'm like, I gotta make sure people know to play this game.
Hmm.
Like, I think I might put Unicorn Overlord on my list.
Hmm.
And like, I haven't played that game in months.
Man.
Like, it's good. I enjoyed it. I will say I have been playing more Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I've been enjoying that a lot more. So maybe that'll end up making.
Yes,
it
sir.
Activated Chad.
Yeah. Definitely helped. I definitely should not have tried exploring the open world before I got my chocobo. That was a That was
Oh
miserable.
boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that was miserable. I shouldn't have tried
What
doing
did I
that.
tell you?
Yeah.
Just do main story. Go back for
Mhm.
exploration.
Yeah. You were right. You're right.
I gotta
Uh,
play some Rebirth still.
Yeah. And some Technical Breach Wizards.
Yeah, I should pick it up.
Breach or
It's-
beach?
Yeah, I'll
so
probably
good.
grab it.
Yeah, Tactical Beach Wizards. Kid, was there anything else you wanted to say about? I kind of stole your second game.
No, not really. I
Not
think
really?
covered most of it, honestly. I will just say the tactical combat is stellar. It's really
Yes.
well implemented. You also constantly get upgrades for your characters pretty frequently that
Yes.
feel really good. Every upgrade feels really impactful.
There are
That's
almost no upgrades that are just like, oh, like there are a handful that are like, oh, +1 damage, but most of them are like just a cool new way to interact. One of my favorites is Jen, the Storm Wizard.
Oh,
She
exactly
has an
what you're gonna
ability. What?
So good. I know exactly what you're gonna say. It's so good.
Are you?
It's so
Is it
good.
the one where if you chain through an ally, it
Oh, it's
refunds
not
the
that
action
one.
cost?
Wow, amazing.
Which one were you
Huh.
thinking?
The one where when you use her normal blast, she gets to move again.
Oh my
So
god.
good.
Yes, that one
It's
is
insane.
crazy overpowered. Oh my god. It's so many of the sub objectives. I'm going on a tangent now. So many of the sub objectives are like finish this in 2 rounds, and it's like, how in the fuck am I gonna finish this in 2 rounds? So I will literally like run, have her shoot an ally, so she can run again, and then use her grenade to knock her a little bit further. Oh my
Oh.
god.
It's worth mentioning. On a round, you can undo everything you've done.
Yes.
You can step back all the way to the beginning of the level. You can step back one step at a time, however you want to do it. So you know
That's
exactly
nice.
what you're doing to all the enemies. You know exactly what they're going to do to you on their turns.
Yes.
What the
It's-
time
it's-
wizard's for?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally,
He's-
that is how it's explained.
Yeah. He sees 1 second into the future.
Mm-hmm. It's so it just opens up so much experimentation because you're not like, shit, am I gonna get this character killed? You're like, oh, what if I go over here and then do this, and then it's like, oh, that sucks, that's nothing, and you can just rewind it all, and it's
Can-
like, okay,
Yep.
try
No,
again.
you can rewind after the enemy goes.
No.
No, it's only on your turn. Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can
You can-
obviously you can just restart the level, but
sure.
And there are occasionally things that enemies will do off turn, and you can rewind past those.
yes,
Because
there's
they're
one-
usually in response to something you did.
Mhm. Yeah, it's oh
Gotcha.
my gosh. Before we move on, I have one question for Caleb. Who's I think I asked you this already, but I forget your answer. Who's your favorite character?
Yeah, it's so hard, man. I mean, gameplay wise or story wise?
Both.
Those are different answers. Story
That's
wise,
fair.
I mean, it's definitely Banks. The dog.
I agree. Banks.
She's
Oh my god!
awesome.
As soon as I met her, I was like, I love her. I love her. She's so
Yeah.
great.
She's amazing. Gameplay wise, oh man, Banks or Jen or Doll. Doll is just busted good.
Doll is really good. Honestly,
She's
they're
just too
all
good.
pretty good.
It's true, but she can just knock people back for
Yes.
days and just keep doing it over and over.
Yeah. Oh my god. And her ability. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it. You know what? They're all really
Mhm.
fun. I don't
Yeah.
want to talk too much about their abilities.
It's really, really good.
It's
Definitely check it out.
what a treat. And it's $20, I think, if it's not on sale. What a gem. And it's like a full
$20.
campaign.
That's
it's
crazy.
like 10-hour campaign, maybe?
I mean, I have 25 hours in the game.
Oh, damn.
Granted, I 100%ed it.
Oh, of course you did.
25 hours.
I've got 18 and a half.
Okay.
All right.
And that's just straight campaign, right?
No, I did a couple of the dreams.
Oh, okay.
Not that many, though.
Maybe like 15-hour
It
campaign.
might be like 15. If only there were a website.
No. We just guess and check here. Just,
Well, I'm in the check part. Tiger Breach Wizards, 11 hours for main story.
Oh, wow.
mm,
You have to be moving,
Yeah, I bet that'd be...
I feel like.
I mean, if you ignore the optional objectives...
Which, for what it's worth, are completely they're just cosmetic upgrades.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, no gameplay thing.
No
And you can
gameplay.
always go back and do them. Or even, each character usually has one, so there'll be 3 in one mission. You can do 2 on your first try, and then go back and just do the third one.
Mm-hmm. You also just go back when you have more abilities
Yeah.
and use them.
It's
Objectives really easy. Good.
such
Can
it's
you-
just a good game.
can you hit the point where you've done it and then just close out of it, or you have to finish the mission?
No, you can just abort the mission.
Can you?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I never tried it.
Unless it's some of the ones that are finish the mission in X number of turns.
Well, sure, yeah. That
Something
one
like that.
obviously
Makes
you wouldn't be able
sense.
to do without finishing the mission, but
Nah, I went back and
push
did a
5
couple...
people out a window though. You can
Yeah.
do that
Yep.
and then just
Yeah.
abort.
I mean,
Yep.
also, it's not like each mission is basically a room.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure,
it
it's
takes
probably not that long anyway.
I mean, usually I'm looking at sub 5 minutes for a mission.
Okay.
A really long one's 10 minutes. And that's usually when I'm really stuck trying to get an objective and I refuse to give up on it.
Sure.
I don't know how... You played on normal difficulty, right?
I did.
I put on hard. It was pretty hard. I recommend it, though. Basically,
Damn.
all the enemies one-shot you, so you got to be pretty dang good with your turns. But it's fun. It's
Also-
very puzzle-like at that point.
I quite enjoyed normal,
Yeah.
for what that's worth. Just getting the sub-objectives, I thought gave it enough, made it puzzly enough for my taste. Admittedly, I never played it on hard, so I don't know.
I'm curious. I didn't try it on medium, so I don't know. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see the difference.
I bet they're the same. I bet it's the same. They just put a different label
I know
on
it's
it.
not the same.
It's
I know on
definitely-
hard, you don't get mana for closing doors or completing objectives.
Yeah, well, that's stupid. I don't like that. I can talk
what else
about...
you playing? Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I've been playing... Look at that! Dragon Age! I've been playing Dragon Age Inquisition again!
Let's go.
Yeah, this is part of why I got really excited about Veilguard again randomly. Inquisition is... Man, this game feels like it's half complete sometimes.
Mm.
It feels like
Great.
it's just missing stuff. But man, it's fun! I finally got far enough where you unlock all of your companions and your own character's specializations. And man, it's a completely different game. It's so much more fun with specializations, dude. My wizard used to be a little bitchy wizard, had to stay back and be careful with my spells. Now I'm an immortal god. I run around with a magic blade and I just stab people. It's so much fucking fun. Oh my god. It's... I get why they don't start you with the specializations. You don't want to overwhelm someone where this is their first game. But for me, it's I really kind of got to slog through the first part to get to the specializations.
Yeah.
It completely changes the way some characters do. Literally, I respect all of my characters because I was I had points at put away in normal skill trees. I'm no, put all those points in your specialization. I don't want to hear about it. The Reaver character, I'm every single point goes in the Reaver tree. I don't want you doing anything else. Oh
They
my
have
god.
respec built into that game, huh?
They do. It's a consumable item. You get your first one basically for free, and then after that you can buy it for almost $400, which is a little expensive. But I basically don't spend money on anything else, so it's fine.
Sure, yeah. I had to get a mod to respec in Origins.
Oh, it doesn't have
So.
respec built into it.
Yeah.
I thought
Why'd
it
you
did
mess up?
have one way to respec, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, it's been too long. I couldn't possibly guess. But yeah, no, it's really good. The main things that feel unfinished are sometimes cutscenes just kind of end really abruptly.
Nope, you're right.
Nice.
Or like the framing will just be like obviously wrong. Like there was one time during a scene, Varric like took a step forward to like address me, and then the reverse shot was where he used to be. So I just got a nice shot of like the back half of his head. That was great. There was a really weird mission where like as part of it you're supposed to be like protecting this political figure from like assassins. And one of your like companions just like, oh, we could just like let them do it. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so like I had an option to like instead of saving her, like let them die and pick the successor. And like on the one hand that's like cool. On the other hand, there was never like an indication that like here's why it would be good if they died.
Yeah.
Maybe you get some advantage. It kind of just came out of nowhere. And I felt like I didn't know the person dying or their replacements like at all. Like I barely had a conversation with any of them, and it was just like, okay, pick who you want. And I was like, whatever, that one. You know, I don't know any of these people. It just stuff like that feels like maybe if it had a little more time in the oven, it would have been fleshed out a little bit better.
Is that because you're kind of flying through it and not doing side stuff, or is that just
no?
how it is?
That's just how the game is. Yeah, because like that whole assassination thing, that's like a standalone main story mission.
Okay.
It is cool. It just, I don't know. Like I said, it felt a little incomplete to me.
Do you think playing that game when it released, without comparing it to gems that we have out now, it would actually be kind of pushing like future generations to do better? Like maybe
it certainly could be. Yeah, I mean, it got really really good reviews when it came out. It got a lot of Game of the Year nods.
Something so, like for instance, I went back and tried to play Fallout 4 after playing Baldur's Gate, and I'm just like, never mind. Like I don't want to play that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it could very well be recency bias. You know, I don't. It's hard to say. I'm playing it like a decade after it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for what it's worth, I'm still loving it. I'm enjoying it a lot. The combat is very fun, especially once you get the specializations. That has been so huge. I really cannot emphasize enough how big that has been.
Yeah.
Gotta try the multiplayer, man.
Oh my god, I always forget there's a multiplayer in it.
Like PvP?
So weird.
No, it's like running through. I forget what it really is, but
I
think you're just running through
supposed to be
random
like the Mass
encounters.
Effect 3 multiplayer, right?
Yeah, I think it's a co-op PvE thing.
There you go.
No, I never played it.
I'll load it up and see what it's all about.
Yeah. See how many people are in it. Oh my god. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, Ben. It doesn't look like there's any Elden Ring on this list.
No, I haven't played any more Elden Ring. I'm a disappointment to this cast.
Hmm.
Instead, I've been playing this other really crazy new game. It's called Skyrim.
Which version
of that? A very heavily modded.
As it always is.
Yep. I think my final count, it looks like 2,711 mods.
That's
playthrough.
insane.
That's a little high, maybe.
No, I cheat. I just used, if you ever heard of that, it's called WHYBPL, and it's a system that basically, like, you just click a button, pick one and click a button, and it just auto loads an entire mod list in for you. Mm-hmm. But this one's fun. It ups the difficulty a lot. It's kind of killing me a bit, but it's entertaining. But nice. I'm not going to describe what Skyrim's like. I think we got it at this point.
Well, if it's that heavily modified, is it like, are you changing how combat works and stuff at this point? Like, or is it just base Skyrim combat still?
This mod list is pretty vanilla Skyrim still, but
2,000 mods pretty vanilla though.
Pretty vanilla Skyrim.
Well, okay, 2,000 of those are sex mods.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's important stuff. But no, so changed up some of the skill trees. They also, I'm trying. The problem is I don't actually know what half the mods do. I just installed them and went, let's just see what happens.
Just hit the button, yeah.
No, just hit the button and go. But let's see. There's less. You get less perk points in this one. Although to make up for it, there's also several quest lines that reward a perk point for completing it. There's the combat itself is pretty similar, but you're way more squishy. But as a side effect of that, there's a lot more spells, and armor perks are much stronger and better at giving you more defense. So the biggest problem I've been having is at the beginning of the game, I've just like die and like if any enemy gets off a heavy hit on me, it just insta kills me. I've had to get very good at dodging and preemptively stabbing people. But no, I'm not that far into it yet. It also did a weird thing where because of that, you don't actually start seeing dragons until you hit level 10. So I just got to like level 12 or something, and I finally saw my first one, and that finally started the quest line for "You're a Dragonborn" because it has a different starting area. But it's good. Only other game I've been playing is I realized a game that I technically played in beta like 2 years ago, released this year, full release. It's called Planet Crafter. It is a kind of a survival game that takes place on. You're like a guy who's landed on this random planet that's kind of Mars-like, and you're literally your whole goal there is to terraform the planet into a livable atmosphere. So you're starting out with just like you're literally have your little ship that you landed in, and there's only air in the ship, so you can only go out for like short bursts of time before having to go back to like get air. But you can do things like you can mine minerals and things like that to craft more items, and then upgrade your gear. You can make like water bottles, food, air, like O2 bottles, things like that. And it's just sort of you have to get more stuff, and then you can get further and further to get more different items. And as you're crafting like your base up, you're also crafting things to increase the basically how terraformed the planet is. Like, but the planet itself also changes as time goes. So like one of the first things that you run into is where your ship lands, because it's always in the same starting area. If you build your base there, it's actually in this big like basin, like in mountains. And as you start terraforming and you raise the water content and starts to rain, the basin that you landed in becomes a lake. And like if you built a base there, you're kind of fucked because it's now underwater in this lake.
That's cool.
And there's other stuff like as time goes on, like more plants start to grow, and then some animals come, and now you have to deal with like there's animals on the planet now. And it's kind of interesting just because it's a survival crafting game, but like the world changes around you as time goes on, and like your goal changes a little bit too.
That sounds pretty cool. Would it be unfair to say it's kind of like Subnautica? I don't know if you played Subnautica.
I have not played Subnautica, but I would not be surprised if it took a lot of inspiration.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I most of what I just told you is memories from back in the beta. I haven't played much of it yet. It's also a fun thing if anybody's interested. I realized that sometime between when I last played it and when they did a full release, it is now up to 4-player co-op. So if anybody would be interested in trying that out, I'd be down. The only thing I will say that I don't like about it very much is the act of actually getting, like, mining the minerals is like you just walk outside and they're just in lumps, like on the ground, like everywhere. It's not it's not like you literally just walk. Like if I could find a picture of it, your first starting area is like a desert, and you walk out and it's just littered with little like crystals or lumps of rock and things like that. And you run up to it, and you've got like a sci-fi like sort of like scanner thingy. You just point at it and like you mine a little piece at a time. So I would have liked to see maybe a bit more creativity with how the the minerals are distributed. But the gameplay's fun, so I can forgive it that, I suppose.
This says it does up to 10 plus players.
Oh,
Up to 10 plus.
All right. Extra life?
That just means you can host a server, and however many the server can handle is however many can play, probably.
Yeah. They only recommend up to 10, though.
1 to 10 plus.
All right. Well, never mind. We'll just get the whole cast in on it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I tried it out.
You know, I'm only going to.
You would try it out. This looks
the thing
like
is
a bog standard survival crafting game.
Playing with a bunch of people,
with a
try it out a
gimmick.
little bit.
I will say that it is. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair way to describe it. It's a survival crafter. I mean,
It looks like Subnautica inspired, and I did actually like Subnautica quite a bit.
Is there any? Forgive me if you mentioned this. Is there any like dangers? Like is there something that could kill you out there?
Not really. The main danger is just keeping track of food, water, and air.
Okay.
And then
Gross.
the difficulty.
So exciting.
And then the difficulty comes more later in the game as you get access to more areas, finding some of the more rarer minerals that you need to craft stuff.
Gotcha.
At least, again, based on when I played 2 years ago in the beta.
Yeah, there's probably all
Sure.
kinds of fucking space monsters out there. I bet the Reapers are there.
Mm,
Some Mass Effect crossover.
or the Reavers.
Or the Reapers. One of
There's
the two,
also
for sure.
there is a bit of a plot in that as you adventure around, you find things like crashed spaceships and stuff like that, and you can find like basically like audio logs on them to figure out like what happened there, and you start to piece together like nothing crazy, but like also you get more messages and you start to learn about why you're there on this planet and stuff like that. Like, so there is a bit of like plot that unlocks over the course of the game, which keeps it kind of interesting and not just like, oh man, gotta go get a thing. Like you are kind of like, man, I want to see what's going on next, but I gotta hit my milestones or whatever
Sure.
to unlock the next plot point.
You know what? Also, just hit 1.0 that we should play instead is Satisfactory.
That is fact.
I'd
That
play
is
some of that
also
too.
one I really want to get somebody to play with me.
Yeah, we should. I mean,
I'd play it.
I've been looking at it some. I'm probably you can set up a dedicated server now. So
Yeah,
Ooh.
I've played it a bit before, but
See,
I'd be
that's
down.
the way I'd play it. Dedicated server. That sounds nice.
dedicated server that's always running, so you can hop in there and build some stuff whenever you want.
And then you come back later and somebody's built the base up to something that you're just like, what is this? And then you just ultimately go build your own base.
Yep.
It looks cool.
I bet
I
it's
feel like-
satisfactory.
I feel like the reason I quit
Yeah.
like those types of games is because it gets to the complexity that I'm just like, I don't want to sit here and do the mental math anymore. I'm good.
Mm. Well, I already own Satisfactory, so if we want to play that sometime, I would be down. And I think that's it for the podcast.
The end.
Surprising amount of talking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Almost like it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Audio medium.
We had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Haven't casted in a couple weeks, so
It's true.
Mhm.
Missing one.
And a lot of
Catch
cool
up
stuff
on that
happened those weeks.
yeah. I mean,
Freaking, honestly, we got lucky. A bunch of Veilguard stuff dropped.
Bruh,
Veilguard stuff dropped literally today.
yeah.
there was one thing that I forgot to mention about Deadlock, and that is while we were sitting here, I clicked into Steam 3 to 4 different times, and there was an update every single time I looked. This game is being updated so much.
All the time. Man, we missed one podcast and we missed an entire life cycle of a video game.
Yeah. To be
That's
fair,
crazy.
if we hadn't missed a podcast, we could have missed the entire life cycle of Concord.
All right. Well, I guess that is it from us today, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.